Tropicana Field is home to the American League's winningest team, the Tampa Bay Rays, who also own baseball's best home record. Tonight they play host to the best road team, the Angels. It's a playoff preview next on ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball. The Angels have been there before. They yearn to return and once again experience the thrill of victory. Can the addition of proven veterans propel them back to the postseason? The Rays have endured the misery of losing seasons, but what a difference a year makes as they own baseball's best record. A skipper with vision, coupled with an abundance of hungry talent. Tampa Bay is poised to play in October for the first time in franchise history. It's a playoff preview coming up next from St. Petersburg. Tropicana Field in St. Pete was to be the command center in case a hurricane hit, but Faye went north and the Trop was untouched by the storm. Then again, nobody touches the Rays in here, where they have put up baseball's best home record at 47-17. They're doing it to the Angels again, winning the first two in this series on Monday. They jumped on the Angels early. Eric Hinsky and Cliff Floyd each with two-run homers as Tampa Bay won it 6-4. And then last night, defense took center stage as Gabe Gross robbed Mark Teixeira on a great play, took a home run away, and then B.J. Upton gunned down Torrey Hunter at the plate to erase another run. And with the score tied at 2-2 in the eighth inning, Willie Ibar's two-run single gave the Rays the win 4-2. Tonight, they go for their second sweep here over the Angels this season. The Rays, despite key injuries, have not only hung in there, they've actually increased their lead in the East over the Red Sox to 4.5. The Angels, despite losing two here, still hold a whopping 15.5 game lead in the West, and Mike Scioscia can start setting up his playoff rotation right now. Great to have you with us here at the Trop. Dave O'Brien, my partner Rick Sutcliffe, Aaron Andrews by in just a moment. Mike Scioscia has done great work with his Angels team. Suddy won it all in 2002. Many believe his 2008 version is just as good. Why is he routinely in baseball circles called the best manager in the game?
I'll tell you what, OB, for me, one of the things is that he insisted his catchers be part of the staff first and part of the lineup second. He thinks it's more important to get the starting pitcher deep into the ball game than it is for the catcher to go 4 for 4. You've got to understand your pitcher. How does he put a hitter away? How does he get back into the count? Well, one thing that we know is that it works. The Angels are headed to their 4th division title in the last 5 years. Just one of the many things that makes Mike Scioscia so special.
Well, as you know, he and Joe Maddon go way back. They're very good friends. Maddon was on the bench right alongside Mike Scioscia when they won the World Series in 2002. And Aaron Andrews, it is no accident then when you look at these two teams, it's like looking into a mirror.
Absolutely, and we're joined right now by Joe Maddon. And Joe, another comeback win last night. You're now 5-0 against the Angels here at the Trop this year. Why do you have their number?
You know, we just play a little bit better brand of baseball here against a lot of different teams. Our home record's been very good. I have a ton of respect for that group over there. I was a part of that group for many years, and they are very good. You
mentioned that 6 years as a bench coach with Mike Scioscia over there in Anaheim. Why do you guys have such a good relationship?
We're from the same part of Pennsylvania. He's full of time. I'm half. We like the same TV shows growing up, that kind of stuff, and we definitely like pasta, so I think that was a big part of it.
Pasta, cat and mouse game, and also a chess match between the two of you, right?
Absolutely.
All right, Joe, thank you so much. Dave, over to you.
Thanks, Aaron. When these two play, you can almost switch uniforms. Two very athletic, speedy teams. They play good defense, they pitch, they play smart situational baseball, and they have the American League's two best records. They clash tonight at the Trop.
ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball, brought to you by Super 8. See you along the way. And Volvo, who believes that life is better lived together. Volvo for life.
Well, it certainly has been party time inside the Trop this season for the surprising Rays. Probably surprising no longer. Right to the lineup of the Angels now, brought to you by Pizza Hut. Sean Figgins, followed by Ibar Teixeira and Vlad Guerrero, Torrey Hunter, and then the red-hot Garrett Anderson, who's hitting 22 in a row.
And that's the longest hitting streak of the year for the Angels. This guy is a career 300 hitter. You knew that he was going to get the bat going, as he has since the All-Star break.
Taking on a right-hander, Matt Garza, who is 10-7 since May 1st. Garza has been Tampa Bay's best starter.
He really has. In his last 12 starts, that ERA just barely over 3. What you're going to see tonight, no, he's not going to fool anybody. The Angels know they're going to get a lot of fastballs, but they're going to get a really good one.
His last outing, a complete game, 2-hit shutout at Texas on Friday. He is 6-2 at home this season at Tropicana Field with a .247 earned run average. The Rays are going for their second sweep of the Angels this season in this building. Sean Figgins, the first man to test Garza. He's hitting .275 with 17 runs batted in. Set to go, and Garza delivers a strike, and we are underway here at Tropicana. Now the Angels are locked in a pretty fierce battle right now at Tampa Bay, actually, for the best league. And the prize, home field advantage, should they meet in the American League Championship Series. They count quickly 0-2. Ibar on deck. And Mike Scioscia there on the left side inside the dugout. Against Joe Maddon, who used to sit alongside him for 6 years, including a world title in 2002. A ball and 2 strikes on Figgins.
You mentioned the 2-hit shutout in Garza's last start. OB, he was throwing 95 miles an hour in the 9th inning. Took him 119 pitches for that complete game.
Well, they've got the cowbells going, signifying that the Rays are indeed at home. Here's the 1-2. Spoiled again by Figgins, who was 0 for 3 last night. And yesterday, one of the rare occasions this season when the Angels actually scored first in the game and lost. They had a 2-0 lead in the 4th inning, but would lose the ball game. They are 53-10 when they score the first run.
Their pitching's just been so good all year long.
Garza looking for a strikeout, but misses low, 2-2. Now Figgins gets on. You know he's going to be thinking about running against Garza and Riggins. He is the club's all-time stolen base leader.
You know, and Mike Scioscia was talking about that before the game. That's really been the key. Tampa has been able to shut down Figgins. 0 for 8 in the first 2 games of this series.
Angels are scuffling a little right now. Flared into center, right at Upton. And he'll make the play for the out. B.J. Upton right in the middle of the outfield with Hinske and Gross. And B.J. Upton also right in the middle of a lot of controversy lately, although he is right up there among outfield assists. Last night, Upton beat out an infield single in the 6th inning, hustling all the way, but he was actually called out by Jerry Meals when Meals ruled that Upton had turned towards second base. Upton made that terrific play to gun down a runner at home plate. Replays had showed that Upton actually contorted his body to avoid a tag at first base, but was attempting not to make a turn there. And Howie Kendrick tagged him, and the umpire upheld that.
I tell you what was amazing about that throw to me was you saw Rivera hit the ground ball up the middle. It's a ground ball. It bounced 4 times before it got to the outfield turf, and it was Torrey Hunter running the bases. And yet he still came up with a throw to nail Hunter in plenty of time at a crucial point in that ball game.
Eric Ibar is hitting .281, 3 homers. He's driven in 30. And another one with excellent speed. He has 21 infield hits.
You know, be just watching SportsCenter last night. They might have as well have just replayed this game as they got to top plays. I mean, the defense for the Rays was all over the special.
Now, nothing new for Madden. His team picks up the ball very, very well, especially now that they have Bartlett back at shortstop. Waved at and missed, and Ibar is out on strikes. Garza blows him away as we check out K-Zone here on this at bat, finished up with a strikeout.
If you fall behind this young man, you're in a lot of trouble, as the first 2 hitters have found out. There, Ibar just trying to make contact, but the explosion on that fastball took it away from him.
The guys are trying to make it a quick first inning, and here's Mark Teixeira. Batting left-handed tonight, the switch hitter. He's hitting .354 with 4 homers. He's driven in 15. He went 0 for 3 last night. His combined numbers since the trade with Atlanta and with the Angels. Now, they haven't played great baseball since they got Teixeira, at least not yet. Boy, he went for the downs there in a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
One thing I think the Angels need to adjust with is swinging at that first pitch fastball. For all 3 hitters, that has been the best pitch to hit in each of their at-bats. When you fall behind Garza, there's just too many ways for him to put you away.
And a terrific two-seamer, the 0-2. Just missed outside.
There it was right there. That's a great call. Started on the outside corner. Mike Scioscia was raving about Teixeira, and we know about the homers, RBIs, batting average, but his patience. I mean, this guy rarely will go out of the zone to swing at a pitch.
And it's no accident that Vladimir Guerrero has absolutely caught fire since they got Teixeira. His numbers are up. As a team, they are 10-8 since the trade. So it hasn't all clicked, all the pieces yet. And in fact, the Angels have lost 5 out of their last 6. So this is a period they might describe as a downward slope for them.
Well, and they're still up in their division by 15
and a half games coming into tonight. The 2-2. Now a full count on Teixeira. And Guerrero on deck. Vladimir now with 23 home runs. He knocked one out of here last night. Teixeira, the big switch hitter, trying to get on for the cleanup man, Vladimir Guerrero. Garza with a 3-2. Just got a piece of it. And Teixeira is still alive here.
Talking with a lot of the Angels before the game, OB, they talked about how Teixeira really completed their team. Not only their lineup, where he moved everybody down a spot when he moved into that 3-hole, but also what he does out there defensively at first base.
Well, a Gold Glover. He's won 2 of them, in fact. Now he's on. That patience you spoke of as he took that for ball 4, and that'll get the inning to Vladimir Guerrero.
Don't you think that's a big part of the reason why Vladimir has gotten hot? He's constantly hitting with men on base, which means, OB, that the pitcher is not in the windup. He's out of the stretch.
Now that count was 0-2 on Teixeira. He fights back to take ball 4, and the American League West is on notice. Vlad the Impaler is on the warpath. 2 for 4 last night. 6 homers, 20 RBIs in his last 16 games. We've seen this before. Like the year he won the MVP, he checks his swing and fouls it away. But boy, when he gets hot, he can just put the team right on his back, and he's doing that right now, or at least trying to. Home run here last night. The Angels are 17-4 when he hits one out. Garza, the former Twin. And the 0-1 pitch. Rocketed, but foul. 94. It's tough to sneak a fastball in there past Vladimir Guerrero.
Well, I think that home run last night that he hit to the opposite field, OB, is the reason they're pounding the fastball in on him on those first 2 pitches.
You see the numbers there since Teixeira's arrival. And Vladimir has really benefited. The 0-2. Now Vladimir with a big hack. Now, I think if you ask Vladimir Guerrero, has Teixeira helped him and helped his numbers, he might very well say yes. Jeff Kent does not feel quite the same way with the arrival of Manny Ramirez in the same city. Jeff Kent said it really doesn't have anything to do with his performance and his high batting average and production since Manny came on board. He said it's all his own hard work. Cut on and missed. He struck him out. So Garza pitches right around the ball 4 to Teixeira. And now comes Jared Weaver. He's 10-9, but 2-0 lifetime against Tampa Bay. The Angels do not score. And for Joe Madden, after last night's 4-2 win, his ball club, the Rays, are tied with the Cubs for baseball's best record at 77-48. His starting lineup presented by Pizza Hut. Iwamura followed by Upton, and then Carlos Pena. His last 24 games, he has been on fire.
Well, he has found that home run stroke again. You take a look at that. 10 homers, 22 RBIs the last 24 games. With Longoria and Crawford going down, they needed somebody to step up. He's been that guy.
Right-hander Jared Weaver on the hill tonight for the Angels, one of 5 Angels starters with 10 wins or more.
Yeah, but only 10-9 on a team that's, what, 28 games over 500? This guy historically, though, over the last 3 years has been much better the second half of the season. The Angels hoping he gets going.
Akinura Iwamura, the first man to face him at 277, 5 homers, 35 driven in. He's also been stalwart defensively for Madden. And it's Upton and Pena. Tampa Bay is 14-4 in the month of August. Since the All-Star break, they have the best mark in the big leagues at 22-9. So they are not slowing down, despite what their critics might want you to believe. And there are many around baseball who just are not sold quite yet that the Rays are the real thing. Just check the calendar, though. That's a cross for a strike, and I know they've had some key injuries, Longoria and Crawford in particular, and yet they continue to roll despite it. The 2-1 from Weaver. Fly foul off to the left, 2-2.
Right before pretty much every inning, take a look at Weaver here, what he writes. EHH. His deceased grandparents, Ed and Helen Hamlin. Just thinking of it.
He strikes out Iwamura to get started. So Weaver off to the races by retiring the second baseman. The defense around Weaver tonight, Rivera, Hunter, and Guerrero left to right in the outfield. Figgins, Ibar, Rodriguez, and Teixeira on the infield. Mathis behind the plate. Teixeira's won 2 Gold Gloves.
Well, he has. He won them back in 05 and 06. Did not win last year. Probably won't win this year because of the same reason. He was traded during the season to a different league.
B.J. Upton, who certainly has been in the center of a storm. Inning 269 with 8 homers. He's driven in 58. Benched 3 times in the last 2 weeks for failure to run hard on a number of different plays. Upton apologized yesterday. He said there's no excuse for it. It can't happen, especially in the middle of a pennant race. In there for a strike. So Madden has sat him down on a few occasions here. His lack of effort issues wouldn't have been a blip on the radar screen a year ago because no one was following the Tampa Bay Rays. And they were the Devil Rays down into the dirt 2-2. So nobody would have cared.
You know what it reminds me a lot of? Remember when Andrew Jones first got to the big leagues with the Braves and all the problems Bobby Cox had with him?
Sure.
Yanking him out during the game, between innings, just like Madden's had to do. You know, finding him, constantly having problems. But all of a sudden, he ended up with a pretty good player. And I've got a feeling the same thing's going to happen with Upton.
Well, here he strikes out. Back to last night. We were talking about this earlier as the play at first base. The turn or no turn was what Jerry Meals thought he saw. He thought he saw him turning in the direction of second base. Kendrick tagged him, and Meals said he was out, and Upton couldn't believe it. In fact, Joe Madden was ejected for arguing that play. Here's Carlos Pena as he checks a swing and fouls it back for a strike. And not to say that nobody in all of baseball would not have cared a year ago if Upton was dogging it. Obviously, fans of the Rays, which have grown by quite a few in the last year, they would have noticed, and Madden would have noticed, and the organization. But you know, baseball on a national scale would not have noticed, but everybody does now, and it seems like, at least off his comments, his apology yesterday, Sut, that he is starting to get it. It's surprising that it took this late into a season.
I'm a big fan. He is a good kid. His teammates like him. The city loves him. I mean, they're going to let him know when he doesn't hustle. It's just a mistake. It's just a lesson he's not learned yet. And Obi, I think baseball, in part, is to blame. Because they're signing these kids. You know, he was the first-round pick, number 2 overall, right out of high school, 18 years old. 2 years later, he's in the big leagues. Everybody's rushed. Those are lessons that most of us learned at the minor league level. Hey, kid, you don't do that. You know what? All right, you don't do that. You did it again.
Big swing and a miss by Pena, and Weaver strikes out the side. Some would say you learn all that in Little League. It's 0-0 after 1. Boy, a roaring start by both starters. Angels Rays here on Wednesday Night Baseball. No score, top of the second inning. Garza struck out 2 Angels, and Jared Weaver struck out 3 of the Rays, and Iwamura, Upton, and Pena.
Makes it easy on your defense,
I guess. Here's Torrey Hunter at 277 with 19 home runs.
Remember years ago with Arizona, well, even with Seattle and Houston, how they played great defense behind Randy Johnson. Well, he was striking out 14 and 15 a night.
Yeah, that'll help the fielding percentage. I mean, both of these teams swinging. All 5 of the strikeouts in the game so far on swings. Torrey Hunter leading the Angels in extra base hits and runs scored. A 7-time Gold Glover. Also has not made an error all season. You talk about a really good guy who always seemingly gets after it. Hit sharply, but Ibar there to make the play. 1 man out. It's time for a Sports Center right now. Let's go back to the studio. Our man tonight is Scott Reese. Scotty?
All right, OB, and the Rams have their man in camp. Steven Jackson ends his holdout as his agent continues negotiations on a new deal. Jackson entering the final year of a 5-year, $7 million deal he signed back in 2004. And Ken Griffey Jr. goes yard for the first time in a White Sox uniform, number 609 career that ties him with Sammy Sosa for 5th all-time. Sports Center 11 Eastern. Stay current with ESPN News. Dave?
Boy, how about that, a bulletin? I didn't realize that Ken Griffey Jr., as Anderson flicks that one foul, had not homered until today. Major League Baseball career home run leaders. You know who's out in front and who's second and who's third. Willie Mays with 660, but there's the kid Ken Griffey Jr. at 609. Been a long time since we've called him a kid, but he still plays that way. This one popped up, and Bartlett is there to call off Hinsky. 2 up and 2 down. It's still such a joy watching Junior Griffey play. He's not the same kind of guy who flies into outfield walls and makes great plays, but has a wonderful smile and still gives you everything he has.
He's always done everything right, too. Just a great family guy. He's got great kids. You know, he always did things the right way. His numbers you can believe.
Juan Rivera hitting out of the 7th spot at 243. He's homered 9 times. Hit one here 2 nights ago. And with Gary Matthews Jr. largely invisible because of his troubled knees, Rivera's getting a lot of playing time. This one popped in front of the dugout and into the dugout.
You know, talking with the Rays before the game, their manager Joe Madden, it was hard to pick a guy to highlight defensively. They talked about Bartlett, how getting him over the winter in the trade and having him back healthy, he's the glue to that infield. You got Iwamura, Aki over there at second. Well, he was only the best fielding percentage at third base a year ago. Now he's terrific there. And Pena has always had a good glove. He just finally figured out how to hit last year.
It'll be, by the time it's all said and done, when the regular season ends, the #1 thing that stands out is how well they play defense as opposed to how poorly Joe Madden's team did it last year. Look at this. Last season, 117 errors, 2nd most in the American League. This season, the 2nd fewest in the American League.
Well, and not a lot of errors, OB, but when you think about their range, you think about when they had Crawford in left, Upton in center, and you got Gross in right. Those guys can all 3 go get it, so they're covering a lot of area as well.
Bases empty, 2 down. Bounding ball to Bartlett, right on cue, and in time. They go 1, 2, 3. Just 8 pitches from Matt Garza, shaping up as an early pitcher's duel at the Trop. Inside Tropicana Field, where they are poised for another sweep of the Angels, which would be their 2nd over the Halos this year by Tampa Bay. Cliff Floyd to lead things off in the 2nd inning, bottom half. Cliff, a new dad again. Little daughter Layla has put him over the moon. Absolutely over the moon.
Congratulations. One of baseball's good guys and always has been.
Still with plenty of sock in that bat as well as he waves right through that one. Last night a tough one for the 14-year veteran. 0 for 4, 4 strikeouts. Maybe the look of a man who's not getting enough sleep between the hours of, say, midnight and 6 a.m.
You know, that's the rest of the story right there, is it not?
High fly ball. This one's socked deep, but there's Hunter, and the Gold Glover will put that one away as we go downstairs for more on Cliff Floyd. Here's Aaron Andrews.
You guys were talking about Cliff Dad just becoming a dad. Well, again, third child, as you mentioned. He's also kind of a dad, leader, father figure in the clubhouse. And just to put a bow on the B.J. Upton story, you know, after the recent incident with B.J. on Monday not running to second, Mark Teixeira getting him out, Cliff Floyd was basically told by Joe Madden, although he didn't have to say it, look, you guys deal with it. And Cliffy is one of the biggest reasons why this team has come together so well. And that's what a lot of the guys obviously call him. And talking to B.J. Upton about that, he said, you know, Cliffy did have a talk with me. He just said, basically, we expect more out of you. And Floyd telling me, we're having so much fun in this team. We're doing so much. We don't need to be worrying about this kind of stuff. And so you said how you were a fan of B.J. Upton. I got to tell you, talking to him a lot today about the incident, you could tell he was disappointed in himself. He knows the fans were upset. They were booing him here the other day. He knows more is expected of him.
Yeah, she's exactly right. I mean, things have come so easy for this guy, just dominating everywhere he's ever been. I mean, last year he hit 300. You think, you know, I mean, there's more to come. There is a lot more. The ceiling for him, the potential is unbelievable, but the hustle is something that has to happen every night.
Well, the Ibar pops that one foul. And when he looks out there at the fans, he sees some shots like this. BJ do the hustle.
You remember all that with Andrew Jones? Mm-hmm. You remember all the problems? I'm sure you do. And you know what? All of a sudden, I remember Greg Maddux saying that one day Andrew came to the ballpark and he wanted to be a good player.
The looper racing out Rodriguez. 2 up and 2 down, and Eric Hinsky on the way up next. Time for a studio update. Let's go back to Scott Reese.
All right, OB. Rays fans certainly curious of the goings-on in Baltimore. Red Sox and O's, and Clay Buchholz treated to an early lead courtesy of Kevin Youkilis as he knocks in Dustin Pedroia. The Red Sox have tacked on a couple more. They now lead at 3-0 top 2. And the Yankees get an RBI single from Xavier Nady and a sac fly from Jason Giambi. 2-0 in Toronto. We will keep you updated, guys.
All right, Scotty, thank you very much. Here's Hinsky. In left field these days, 252 with 19 home runs. He's 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts last night, but he's really enjoyed a quiet renaissance here in St. Petersburg. Hinsky, the 2002 American League Rookie of the Year, knocks that one to right. That's going to drop in for a base hit. He wound up as a part-time outfielder for the Red Sox last season. He did win a World Series ring, but he had to come to camp this spring for Tampa Bay as a non-roster free agent and make the ball club. Well, he has done that and a whole lot more.
How about what they've done with the non-rosters the last, say, 3 years? 3 years ago, it was Ty Wigginton they brought in. Well, obviously he's not here, but they got Dan Wheeler in a trade for him. Last year it was Pena who was brought in as a non-roster, just a comeback player of the year. And now one of their leaders and a guy with a lot of big hits, Hinsky.
Gabe Gross has been around several different ball clubs too. He can also provide some power. And they have that. They have plenty of speed. The kind of ball club that just seems to hang around and score just enough runs to get it to their fine bullpen. Of course, at this point, without Troy Percival, who was hopeful of coming back without surgery, torn cartilage in the knee. So they have to kind of patchwork things as far as the closer spot is concerned.
You know, one thing, too, Cliff Floyd was saying before the game, there's never been any pressure on the offense this year. The pitching has been so good. I mean, you see Weaver, and he strikes out the first 3 in the first inning. There's not a sense of panic there because what happened? All of a sudden, Garza puts another 0 up. Hey, let's just go get him 1 tonight, boys.
The 0-1 to the lefty hitter. Popped him up. Figgins looking for room. He can certainly get there. And unable to here because it's over the top of that dugout. 0-2 the count.
I know what Don Zimmer was laughing about it before the game when he was the third base coach for the Cubs back in '84. Our offense struggled a little bit for about 3 games, and I just made a comment as I came in before the top of the first. I said, boys, just get me 1. This is '84, right? I mean, I had things going for me. They went out there and they scored 7. I'm not lying to you, OB. I gave up 6. in the bottom of the first. I swear to you, Zim was telling the story. As I came in, I figured they were going to take me out, right? Well, you know what Jody Davis said? He goes, "There's your one."
I bet Zim remembers that, right?
Oh, Zim was telling all, they were talking about Sabathia and look what whatever. I coming over in a trade, and Zim goes, "Yeah, I remember a story." And good old Zim. You know what? I know that in a big way, he's had something to do with this club getting it turned around here. Zim's been in a Ray uniform the last 4 or 5 years, and whether it's Joe Madden going to him or a bench coach or a player, there's a lot of experience there to draw upon.
An advisory capacity these days. Of course, he spent lots of time inside that dugout in uniform in the past. A runner at first base, 2 out. Tampa Bay is 20-7 against first-place ball clubs, including sweeps of the Angels once already. They swept the Red Sox twice. They swept the Cubs here in June. All of that damage taking place here as Hinske goes. Here's Mathis up and gun. A good throw, but safe. Hinske beats it. And he has second base stolen. That's how they've been playing and winning all season long, both of these teams.
Obi, you're exactly right. But more so when you look at the Rays, I can see looking at the lineup and looking out there in the field at Torrey Hunter, Vladimir Teixeira. All right, I see a good team. But there's a lot of no names that we're watching over here with the Rays. Hinske, I mean, any team in baseball could have had him. A non-roster invite. He makes it to the team. I mean, you go to the last day of spring training hoping to get on it, and now you get on it, you steal a base, you might score the go-ahead run.
A man very fond of Hinske. He refers to him as Eric the Hinske. He likes the way he is fit in with his ball club, getting a chance to play every day now with Carl Crawford out and probably not coming back this season, possibly for postseason play, but it doesn't look very promising.
Just about everybody you talk to, they shake their head. They're not counting on it. But on the other hand, Aaron and I talking with Evan Longoria for a long time before the game. I mean, he's biting at the bit. He's going to be ready to go here before long.
Well, they're going to reevaluate his wrist, that fracture in the wrist, on Friday, and they are setting and sticking to it as a September 1st return for Longoria. Maybe a little hopeful, but even if it's a week later, just getting him back, period, is going to be a huge deal for this club. That one is poked foul by Gross. He's still alive. 3-2. And there's Longoria wearing that splint. Several hours earlier, he was out taking some ground balls. Obviously not doing any throwing.
All about his legs is what he was talking about. Just making sure that his footwork is there when he's able to come back. He's special, partner. I know you know that. He's going to be a really good one for a long time. He gets it.
A rookie, seemed to be churning toward Rookie of the Year, but they really call this clubhouse, at least a big hunk of it, Longoria's. Fly foul. Figgins again looking for a little room. Ibar coming in as well, and nobody gets it.
There you go. There's a home field advantage. That's a routine play. Even with the broken wrist, Longoria at third base makes that play easily. The inning should have been over with. But this dome will fool people. Figgins did not know where he was at. He should have run hard right away to the spot, get to the wall, and then take a look at it. But he tried to keep his eyes on the baseball so he didn't lose that and never had a chance to make that play. That's frustration there. Weaver knows that he should be out of this inning.
Well, instead, at least another swing coming for Gross, an opportunity to drive in the first run of the ball game again. Hinske at second. Weaver with a 3-2 pitch. And again spoiled by Gross. Sean Riggins, doing the catching tonight, is on deck. And aside from all the sweeps for these Rays against really good ball clubs, they also went 3-1 against the first place White Sox, leading to the best home record in the majors at 47-17. The scary thing for the American League East is the Rays are getting better on the road. They have come to 30-31 after just going 7-3 on a West Coast swing. So they're improving on the road. There's a base hit into right field. Here comes Hinske. He's being sent in. Vladimir Guerrero throwing to the plate. Won't get him. Throw to second. That's not in time. And if you're Sean Figgins, you're looking for a place to hide right now. That was on the 9th pitch of the at-bat. An at-bat that should have been over a long time ago.
Well, and you look at the hustle all the way around. Hinske hustling to steal second base. Now all of a sudden, new life for Gross. He hits a ground ball to Vladimir. That's the same kind of base hit in which Upton threw out Torrey Hunter last night at home plate. But the hustle on the part of Hinske, and then Gross continuing to go. I mean, that's what they call keeping the line moving.
Hinske after his single, the stolen base. And then Gross, he did have a gritty at bat, but it should have ended before that. Here's Riggins at 235 with 5 homers. And let's go back to that pop-up down the line that, as you mentioned, should have been caught.
Not even a tough play. Take a look at it. Look at him coasting. Look at him drifting. Not knowing where he was at. Not knowing where the baseball was at. New life for Gross and a new lead for the Rays.
Socked over third down the line. Here comes another run. Gross is in to score. A long single for Riggins, and the inning continues. 2-0 Tampa Bay.
No question, OB. Not the same guy in the first inning that we see here in the second. And I think a lot of it had to do with the facial expression from Weaver after Figgins did not make that play. You could see him just kind of grimacing a little bit like, oh man, that should have been the third out. We should have been out of the inning. Garza's on the mound. He's dealing. Take a look right here. You see him kind of grit his teeth a little bit, not wanting to say anything. All of a sudden he makes 2 mistakes and he's down 2-0.
You know, you think about it, it's the kind of thing that the Angels usually do to opponents. They pounce on a mistake like that. They pounce on, even though that wasn't an error, they certainly pounce on situations over and over and make you pay. And now Tampa Bay does that to Mike Scioscia's team. They've been doing it throughout the series. Indeed, all season. It's 3 consecutive hits off Weaver.
And from top to bottom, a different guy every night offensively is the way it's been for them all year long.
Jason Bartlett at 268. The shortstop hits a high fly ball up toward one of those catwalks. A long run out there for Rivera, and that ball's going to fall in. Hunter didn't get there. Here comes Riggins in. Bartlett all the way into third base. 3-0 Tampa Bay, and the inning totally falling apart for Jared Weaver and the Angels. Another one that should have been caught, and that's a Gold Glover.
I can tell you what they're thinking. Torrey Hunter's thinking, you know what, this is a much easier play for Rivera. But Rivera's thinking, you know what, that's Torrey Hunter. He gets to everything. I'll let him have it. So what happens? Nobody catches the baseball. Either one of them could have caught it. They both hesitated, and because of it, another Ray run.
And Weaver can't believe it. Trying to figure out what on earth he has to do to get out of the inning. Here's Iwamura, who whiffed in the first inning. A runner at third. That goes as a triple for Bartlett.
Don't forget about the hustle, partner. Just what you said there. Bartlett hustling all the way. Hinske hustling to score. Gross hustling to get into scoring position. Continuing to frustrate Weaver.
Riggins coming around to score. All of this happening with 2 out. 4 consecutive hits, but 1 hit that never should have occurred, at least.
Well, 3 runs that never should have happened.
No doubt. They're all going to be earned runs because there has not been an error in the inning. And it has such an effect on a pitcher. I mean, now he's got to face several additional hitters. His night just got a whole lot longer. Fouled away by Iwamura. To Mike Scioscia, that means you may have to dip into the bullpen a whole lot earlier in the ball game. So many factors in one little pop-up. Iwamura does a great job working pitchers. Done it all season long. Weaver will handle this chance. And that'll do it. Weaver not happy. You could see it even in his flip over to first base. 3-run score. And on a Wednesday night here at Tropicana Field, this has been a problem place all season for the Angels.
ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball. Brought to you by Corona and Corona Light, official sponsors of the Timeout. Relax responsibly.
Well, a nice cushion provided from Matt Garza, rather surprisingly, by a very solid defensive team. And a combination of Figgins and Hunter have committed a total of 4 errors all season long, but they really butchered things for their starter, Jared Weaver, leading to 3 runs for Tampa Bay. The Angels trying to answer now. Sean Rodriguez along with Jeff Mathis and then Sean Figgins. Rodriguez up for the 5th time this season with the Angels. Has good power, but he strikes out a lot. At 21 home runs at AAA this year. He takes a strike, 2-1.
They've had a great farm system for the last several years. This is another one of those power prospects. Middle infielder, can play some shortstop.
3-1. He's hit 1 home run since they called him up.
Well, here's where Garza's just got to simply see how far he can hit it, as we say. Obviously, you don't want to give up a home run, but you do not want to walk the leadoff guy here.
The count fills up. And the Angels not playing terribly well right now, so the Rays are getting them at a good time. Again, they've lost 5 out of 6, but they are on pace to win 100 games. And around baseball, routinely called the best team in the game, even though Tampa Bay has a better record as of tonight. He walked him. Second walk issued by Garza. Now back to Jared Weaver. This is between innings as he came off the hill after giving up the 3. I mean, Figgins and Hunter, he walks right by them. And not a word.
Well, you know, right along with that was Juan Rivera. I mean, there he is down on the other end. I mean, both of those guys could have made that play. But right along with that, Weaver could have made better pitches.
Man on for Mathis, hitting .207. He's homered 9 times. He's taken over as Scioscia's #1 catcher. But Mathis and Mike Napoli have quietly combined to hit 22 homers. So they get a little sock here out of this position. Figgins on deck, a runner at first. And you know Scioscia very fond of getting his guys going on the bases. That one fouled off. And he broke the bat, so he'll get a new shillelagh here. 0-2.
That's another thing that Don Zimmer was talking about earlier before the game. He too is a big fan of Mike Scioscia, and he says, you know what, he's not afraid to try anything at any time. Early in the ball game, even though you're down 3-0, you're in the bottom part of the order, try to manufacture something just to get one.
Garza home with an 0-2 and left it inside. Now you realize how good these Angels have been. Until they lost 2 out of 3 to Cleveland last weekend, they had not lost a series to an American League opponent since May 11th. That is just incredible. Down into the dirt. Nice stop by Riggins. That was back when they were swept here in St. Petersburg by the Rays. But they are, after last night's loss here, 2-6 against Tampa Bay.
One thing I've looked at also is the fact that on this road trip, Mike Scioscia has been resting a lot of his regular players. Kendrick not out there, their normal second baseman tonight. In fact, looking at it, over 124 games, 115 is the most played by anybody this year.
Rocketed into left. That's going to fall for a base hit. So Mathis with a single. Rodriguez down to second base, and Aaron Andrews, we're talking about what a tough place this is for other teams to win in. Tampa Bay at 47-17. What's the answer? Why is it so tough here?
Well, speak of the devil, I mean, Joe Madden actually addressed this before the game today, talking about how it is such an advantage for his team used to playing inside the dome. He said, you know, it's very easy to lose the ball. These catwalks up above us, they are a distraction. Not only that, you've got the turf, he said, but thankfully our pitchers, our hitters are very used to it. And, you know, when this place does fill up, like you saw against the Cubs in the Red Sox series, it also gets loud. So loud, they learned they've got to start using signals to guys like Willie Ibar over at third. He couldn't hear them one time when they were trying to move him. So they're trying to get the players acclimated to that as well.
If they make the postseason, it's a great point. They're really going to have to go through a whole process like that. Those first two catwalks, by the way, the two smaller ones overhead, those are in play. And we've seen a couple of times this season a batted ball strike the catwalk and come down in fair territory.
I think we were here for one of those.
That's correct. And the outfielders and the infielders, they have to know the rules. Obviously, Tampa Bay's players do, but sometimes opposing teams don't know if that's catchable or not, if it's playable. Figgins is 0 for 1, drops a bunt, and it'll roll foul. Good bunter with excellent speed, although he has been out of the lineup, missing 33 games this season with a testy hamstring.
I think that was called for by manager Mike Scioscia. 0 for 9 now in this series for Figgins, just trying to give his guy a productive out. That didn't even work.
What you mentioned about Scioscia resting guys on particular road trips, and he has the huge lead. He can afford to do that on the one hand, but on the other hand, this is a heck of a battle with Tampa Bay at the moment for best record in the American League, and maybe it'll be for best record in the majors by the time the season ends. Squib foul by Figgins. You're talking about home field advantage in, say, a 7-game American League Championship Series. If Scioscia's team winds up playing Tampa Bay in the ALCS, that's going to be a giant factor, especially how well Tampa Bay plays here, where they're virtually unbeatable. So Mike Scioscia may have to rethink that whole thing, just how much he can afford to rest key individuals in big series the rest of the way, even with the division essentially put away in the AL West. Runners at first and second, nobody out. That one's sliced. Here comes Hinske. He can't get there. One run is in. Rodriguez scores. Mathis down to third. Into second with a double is Figgins. Well, this is where probably Tampa Bay misses Carl Crawford. Hinske does not have the range to the line that the speedy Crawford does.
It's a good point. He might have been able to make that play, but I think the big mistake of this inning is what Garza did to the very first hitter when he walked Rodriguez. 185 was his average coming into play tonight. You walk that guy, all of a sudden now you give your offense some hope. The number 9 guy with the base hit. Now Figgins finally gets going. Look out.
The Tampa Bay certainly gets better production given the year that Carl Crawford has had, which has been a down year with the bat, but that finger injury has, and the surgery has put him out of action probably for the rest of the season and the postseason. Runners at second and third. The Angels get one back, and here's Ibar, who struck out in the first inning. That one hit into right center field. There's nobody out there. It's a gap shot. That is going to tie up the ball game. Mathis is in. Figgins around to score. Ibar off to the races, heading into third, and slides in safe with a 2-run triple. And the Angels come storming back, and they have tied it up here 3-3.
Look at this. K-Zone telling the whole story here. Not hitting the target. The ball up and out over the plate. The infield was drawn in. And the next thing you know, the outfielders are on the warning track. Game is tied up. I think the frustration that Weaver had as he went into the dugout has been displayed by the offense here in the top of the third.
So Eric Ibar winds up at third, where his brother plays defensively for Tampa Bay. Willie Ibar a year older than Eric. Eric quite swift and has all those infield hits, but now a big triple And that ground ball behind the bag at first is going to bring in a go-ahead run. Teixeira picks up the RBI to send in Eric Ibar. And boy, that didn't take long. The Angels get 4 back quickly and have the lead.
Nobody more aggressive on the base pads over the last 9 years than the Angels have been. Mike Scioscia insisting upon that. No team this year in baseball going from first to third more often than they do. You knew Ibar was either going to get a triple or get thrown out at third when he hit that ball.
So the Angels vault into the lead here 4-3. And Garza looks like a guy who's been hit by something. Guerrero going after the very first pitch. It takes a friendly bounce. 2 down. Time now for a studio update on the Mets and Braves. Let's go to our man Scott Reese. Scotty.
Well, Dave, it's been all Mets early going, and the Braves helping him out. Fernando Tatis, little grounder, chipper, just not a good throw at all. 2-run score on that errant throw. 2 errors in the first allow the Mets to bat around, so it was 5-0 early. Gregor Blanco just singled home a run to make it 5-1, now bottom 3. And the Phils on a Anderson Hernandez throwing error lead the Nats 1-0, going top 5 in Philly. Obi?
Well, the Nationals are a team you want to play right now, are they not?
Oh, they're terrible. They've lost 11 straight. Here's Torrey Hunter 0 for 1 with a ground out to third. And in the National League East, it's the Mets with that 1.5 game lead over the Phillies going into play tonight. Garrett Anderson, who has hit in 22 consecutive games, is on deck. The Angels looking to avoid another sweep at the hands of these Rays at Tropicana Field, and they have the lead. Anderson so far 0 for 1 tonight.
Angels talking about what a leader Torrey Hunter has already become in that clubhouse. And even during the game, he'll get done with an at bat and he'll come back talking to everybody about what he experienced up there at home plate.
That one drilled into left center field. Another base hit. Hunter now 1 for 2. 4 hits in the inning and a key walk issued by Garza. And he can't get out of this frame. So both starters who started out like a house of fire, now they're getting knocked around. They're giving up lots of hits. So much for that pitcher's duel.
What happened to that? Huh?
Gone into the ether.
I thought we were going to be out of here in no time tonight. Well, these are 2 teams right here that are capable of doing a lot of things. And you know that the Angels have to be frustrated and at least wanting to win 1 game here in this ballpark before this year is over with.
Here's the DH Garrett Anderson again, a 22-game hitting streak. He's popped up in his only at bat tonight. Back in September of last year, he closed in on his 2000th career game, and that's going to happen shortly. 1 for 4 with an RBI double last night.
I will say one thing, OB. We knew that the Angels were going to adjust after that first inning, watching Garza just lay in that first pitch fastball for a strike.
Late cut, 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think their hitting coach is as good as any in all of baseball and has been. Mickey Hatcher's been there all 9 years with Mike Scioscia. Figgins, all of those guys. Abar falling behind, first pitch fastball, getting the bat taken out of their hand the first time up. Well, they turned it around with doubles and triples the second time.
Garza, he tossed a 2-hit shutout in his last start. Nothing quite so easy tonight. This inning, he's given up 4 hits and 4 runs. So the hitting coach delighted with the bounce back here for the Halos in the 3rd inning.
I think you could see the look on his face, still concerned. I think he realized they may need a few more runs tonight before it's over.
Pena hauls that one in foul territory. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Garrett Anderson at the very top of this 22-game hitting streak achieved this historical note. He became the first hitter in Major League Baseball history to collect a 4-hit game at Fenway Park and at Yankee Stadium on consecutive days. Regardless of the order of each ballpark, no one had ever done that before.
No one's going to ever do it again after this year.
Not in the current models, that's correct. Yankee Stadium, of course, closing and opening a new one next year.
Well, and how about possibly being closed in October this year?
Yes. Well, the Yankees, certainly injuries have played a role, but entering tonight 11 games behind Tampa Bay. And really consigned to fighting for the wild card. Boy, a long inning for Garza, and he's filled up another count here. 54 pitches. $27 of them have come in this inning. Anderson trying to keep the line moving here for the Angels. There are 2 out. He strokes that one into left. Hinske backing up, and the inning is finally done. But how about these Angels? They come roaring back to put up 4 against Garza. Middle of the 3rd inning, 4-3 Angels. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell is in Philadelphia at 8 p.m. on Sunday. Manny Ramirez and the Dodgers visiting the Phillies. The teams then finish their series Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. Monday Night Baseball presented by Holiday Inn. They are loving Manny in Los Angeles. Manny has had a couple of Manny moments as well, and they're adoring him even more. B.J. Upton 0 for 1. He has struck out in his only plate appearance tonight. Of course, they loved him in Boston too, as it's bunted foul by Upton for a long time. For 8 years. You can put up with a lot if a guy's swinging the bat like that, but he's got to get in the lineup. He's got to want to play.
That trade made everybody happy.
Seemed to. Yep. Jason Bay has been very productive for Boston. And Weaver slipped a little bit here in the last pitch. He took a tumble.
He might have just caught a spike or something.
Big cut and a miss by Upton. Pena next, and then Floyd. When you look at his Tampa Bay club set, they don't have one guy, although Pena is starting to swing the bat like he did last year. They don't have one guy they rely on. It isn't like if they lose one of these hitters, as Upton cuts and misses for strike 3, he has punched out twice. They lose one of them, it would be a total disaster.
Let's take a look at the difference, the tale between the first 2 innings. Take a look at the K zone and just look at the edges. Take a look at the edges. There was Aki going down. Upper part to get Upton. Painting the inside corner there. Now look in the 2nd inning. All right. Hinske hits off a tough pitch, but then look at after that. He got frustrated when Figgins didn't make the play, and you see just basically everything centered and the barrel of the bat put on the baseball.
Carlos Pena struck out in the opening inning. The Angels walked him 3 times last night. The last one, courtesy of Darren Oliver, came with the bases loaded in the 8th inning. It tied the game 2-2.
Just missed with that curveball. He had him froze, but he just couldn't get it over.
Pena has belted 11 home runs since the All-Star break. That's in 31 games, so he's been very productive. He's in the top 10 in the American League in homers. Leads the club in that category. That's particularly impressive given the fact he missed 19 games with a broken left index finger back in June. It was not totally healed when he came back. The 1-1 fouled away, and for a while, because he had it all bandaged up and had a little splint in there, he actually had to raise that finger off the bat. There's too much pain to apply pressure and really wrap it around the handle. It's gotten a lot better, and with his better health, his numbers are going up. He's hit plenty of home runs, now 72 RBIs. He could still drive in 100 runs. 2-2.
We've seen those finger and hand injuries over the course of the years. Obi, I mean, guys not come back all year long. A lot of credit's got to go to Pena for dealing with, you know, the pain that's in that hand, and also supplying some pain to the opponents.
Nobody on base, 1 man out, a high fly foul. Off to the right, still 2-2.
You had me watching those catwalks.
Yes. You're all about the catwalks. I know you really have to try and gauge which ones are playable and which are not.
I think Aaron needs to make a trip up there and let us know more about that.
I think that's a great idea. We need a first-hand scouting report. Aaron, it's really not that high. It looks a lot higher from the ground.
What are you talking about? I'm with the Rays right now, and I mean the real ones. I'm at the Rays tank.
Are you all the way out there?
Yeah. When we get a better shot, I'll let you know. But I may even feed one. We've already been out here last year. But for everybody that wants to be on the bandwagon, we'll show them all about the Rays tank.
Delightful little feature. The 3-2. In there for strike 3. No argument from Pena, who whiffs for the second time. Time for an update on the Red Sox and the Orioles. Back to the studio. Here's Scott Reese.
OB Sitko keeping you in the game with a look at the Sox and O's in Baltimore. Remember, it was 4-0 Red Sox, but back come the home team as Brian Roberts knocks one into left. That'll play to pair. Clay Buchholz, by the way, 0-6 this year on the road with an ERA over 8. So we've got a 4-3 game right now, top 3 in Baltimore. And the Yanks have tacked on a couple more, courtesy of a Derek Jeter home run. It is 5-0 in Toronto. Gentlemen.
Thanks, Scotty. Cliff Floyd taking a breaking ball downstairs, and that's been a real issue for the Red Sox. Clay Buchholz, remember, he's the young man who threw a no-hitter against that same Orioles team last September, but really has not been anywhere near that good since, even though he has excellent stuff. Floyd is flying to center. He's 0 for 1 tonight. Cliff Floyd really likes hitting in this ballpark. His career average at Tropicana Field is .343. See, at 258 overall. This is very much to his liking. Would you call this a decent hitter's park or a better pitcher's park?
I think it's a really good pitcher's park. You know, with the turf that you've got, you're not going to get any bad hops in the outfield. I think it's a great place to pitch here. The background's not the best in the world. You've got to have a little bit of help from that.
A lot of foul ground.
Oh, yeah.
To pick up some easier outs. The breaking ball is strike 3-1. And you've got those nutty catwalks as well.
Well, I still don't know enough about the catwalks.
I hear you. I know you're pushing the agenda that way, and I think we really need to see Aaron Andrews up on one of those catwalks. The 3-1 pitch. It's sharply foul down the line. Oh, really stroked by Floyd. With Papa. There's got to be an easy way to get up there, isn't there? For those catwalks. Even the lowest one out in center field, for example. Safety harness. 2 down, bases empty. The payoff pitch. And Floyd is blown away with some high heat from Weaver, who strikes out the side for the second time in 3 innings. We're tossing it out to Aaron, feeding the fishies when we come back to the Trop. A majestic sight here at Tropicana Field, the Rays tank. Aaron is out there feeding the fish. Just be careful out there, because after that it's on to the catwalk. Juan Rivera will lead things off here in the 4th inning. Then Sean Rodriguez and Jeff Mathis against Matt Garza, who has been just outstanding for Tampa Bay tonight. Roughed up certainly in the 3rd inning. But back in July, Garza tossed a complete game 5-hit shutout at Toronto. He outdueled Roy Halladay. Garza has actually beaten Halladay twice this season. Roy Halladay is in serious contention for the Cy Young. He already has 8 complete games.
Again, in serious contention for the Cy Young. Of course, Doc has already won one of those awards.
Garza on a couple of occasions has been a little better than Halladay. Just saying something.
This guy's a bulldog. I think it's more than a coincidence. Number 1 back in 05 by Minnesota out of Fresno State. Of course, they are the Bulldogs.
0-2 on Rivera, who was grounded out to short. Facing an Angels team that has its best record after 124 games in franchise history. He could not hold up. He went. The home plate umpire Jerry Meals agrees, and that's a strikeout of Juan Rivera. Well, about this time of every broadcast, we start to wonder, where on earth is Aaron Andrews?
I do it all, I tell you. I'm going to be on a catwalk later. I mean, a lot of people complain about Tropicana Field. They said it's not for baseball. You get great defense, great pitching, and you can hold fish tails and fish heads and feed cow nose Rays. I'm having a very good time, and I'm petrified of these things, but they feel really cool and they're cute.
Aaron, they're like 4-year-olds right next to you that couldn't be happier, and you're petrified.
Well,
look at these kids. They're eating it up.
It's wildlife fun here. I know. I'm just really afraid about my fingers. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're adorable, though. And, yeah, all the fans can come here. I'm just throwing the fish heads in there. I can't do it. I'll pet them as they come by, and I'm a wimp.
Are you allowed to pet them?
Oh, yeah, but they suggest you pet the wings only, not the spine or the head, or, of course, the stingers. I don't think they have the stingers anymore.
Well, I hope not. Be very careful. Are you allowed to take one home?
Dave O'Brien, I am holding a fish head in my hand. You haven't done anything on Wednesday Night Baseball. Seth and I do all the work. Here's a fish head with the eye in it.
Yeah, but show me something here. You're from the University of Florida, for crying out loud. That's the home of the Gators. You don't
oh my gosh, one is coming. One is coming.
It scares me that she doesn't know if they have their stingers or not. I mean,
yeah, that has to be a tip.
I don't want her getting hurt. I mean, I enjoy, getting to the edge, but
you don't want to see her get hurt,
no.
But you're forcing her onto one of these catwalks for the last half hour. Waved at and missed. Rodriguez will have to be thrown out. Riggins will get him. Back-to-back strikeouts. Let's go back to Scotty in the studio for an update.
All right, OB, this is a much scarier moment in Cleveland. Zach Jackson is your pitcher. Look at Mitch Mayer, squares to bunt and takes one high and tight off the nose.
Down goes Miles.
Another look at it. Completely defenseless in that position. He was down for a couple of minutes, would leave the game for a pinch runner. Mike Aviles then hit a 3-run double, and it's 5-3 Orioles, guys.
Boy, that could have been a whole lot worse, Scotty. Thank you very much. We're showing the replay here on our monitor in our booth, and even Suddy, who is known to throw high and tight on occasion, turned away.
He had nowhere to go right there. I mean, that's oof.
Now you've hit some guys in your career. Did you feel bad about it a couple times?
Oh yeah. I mean, they felt worse though most of the time. I mean, as far as something like that, what happened. I mean, he squared around and the pitcher just completely lost sight of home plate. Looks like Garza has found it though.
Well, he gets him in order. 1, 2, 3 with a couple of strikeouts. But at this point, it's still the Angels with a 4-3 lead in the 4th inning. Got an odd one going here. Tampa Bay scored 3 runs in the home half of the second. The Angels come storming back and get 4 off of Garza in the next inning. That's where we sit. 4-3 Angels, bottom half of the 4th inning. It'll be Willie Ibar and then Hinsky and Gross. And Hinsky and Gross certainly right in the middle of that uprising in the 2nd inning off Jared Weaver. Ibar 0 for 1. He has popped out to second. Evan Longoria talking about his fractured right wrist. He says it feels a lot better. Ibar is in for him at third base for now. Tonight making his 12th start over there at the hot corner. We showed you Longoria wearing that splint earlier tonight. Still hopes to be back in the lineup as of September 1st. But Ibar had the big hit last night, a 2-run 8th inning single to break a 2-2 tie. Tampa Bay would win the ball game 4-2.
Oh, but he's really stepped up. Out there playing every day now because of the injury.
He cuts and misses. 2-2.
This is a guy that has not only put his playing career back together, but his personal life as well. Missing all of last year. He came over from the Braves. Personal problems.
Still 2-2. He's hitting .341 since Longoria went down, so they haven't missed much, at least in that respect. He is not the defensive player that Longoria is. Longoria very well could be the Gold Glover at his position in the American League. 3-2 all the way to the backstop of that pitch.
Oh, being for me right now, he's still the Rookie of the Year. With what he's done, I mean, just the impact that he's had on his club. He's been their power. He's gotten a lot of big hits for him. And with what they've done, why wouldn't you give every award to the Rays? Manager of the Year is over with.
Cut and a miss, and that will make it 4 consecutive strikeouts for Weaver. Going back to the last inning. Now look at the game track. Pretty simple how we got here. The Rays scoring 3 times in the 2nd inning, all with 2 out. All after a pop-up should have been caught. That's why Weaver was so upset. But here come the Angels. They come roaring back with 4 runs in the 3rd inning and have taken the lead by 1 here. And Garza's the man upset. His turn to be all ticked off as Hinske takes a strike.
Weaver's just been outstanding. You catch one pop-up, and he's got himself a shutout going right now. I like the way he regrouped, though. Even after falling behind, he gets the lead.
That one finds a home into right field. Hinske is 2 for 2. Rodriguez and Teixeira both gave chase, could not come up with it. Now it's time for a Sports Center Right Now update. We go back to the studio. Here's Scott Reese.
OB, Ken Griffey Jr. off the schneid. First home run in a White Sox uniform. His career blast number 609 ties him with Sammy Sosa for 5th on the all-time list. And get this, Major League Baseball signs an agreement with the World Umpires Association approving the implementation of instant replay for disputed home run calls. Bud Selig is confident a system will be in place before the playoffs. Sports Center 11 Eastern. Guys?
Scott, thank you very much. Boy, instant replay, not something the umpires, generally speaking, are in support of. Some umpires are. Some umpires are on the record saying they would like to see it. As Gabe Gross gets in, he has an RBI single. Did he offer? He did not, according to Bill Millard.
What would be wrong with it? I mean, why would an umpire hesitate when you've got something that's just going to help you get the call right?
I think one of the things the umpires don't like is that it's only home run calls, it's only boundary calls that are going to be reviewable under this first edition of instant replay, which, by the way, is likely to be used during the regular season this year before the postseason. That's the grand plan. 1 ball and 1 strike on Gross, and it won't be used on like plays at the plate or controversial plays at first base. And some umpires will tell you, look, for instance, it's Game 7 of the World Series. The Cubs are trailing by a run. They're trying to score the winning run or the tying run at Wrigley Field in Game 7. The throw comes to the plate, runner trying to score, and the catcher makes the play on 1 hop, goes for the tag, but he actually has the ball in the bare hand, not in the glove. The umpire tries to get a good angle on it, but the catcher reaches with the glove, applies the tag, and the runner is ruled out at home plate. Now, that's not reviewable. Cubs lose the World Series. And
hey,
all you know what, see, right there, you've already got a problem with it. That's not reviewable under instant replay. Shouldn't it be?
Well, that's what they're going to have rules for. I mean, you know, if they can't get that approved, I agree with you. I know exactly where you're going with that. But then by opening up that door, then you head in a lot of different directions.
Well, I think that's why a lot of umpires don't want to see any instant replay, because it opens a Pandora's box that you can never close.
But let me ask you this about this year. Is it just because they've been talking about possibly instant replay, or have we seen more home runs where they've had to get together and a lot of times not gotten it right? It seems like that's happened more this year than any other time.
You know, there were a spate of those that occurred early in the season. Yeah. I remember one at Yankee Stadium, which was on a Sunday night game. That really touched off the firestorm. That happened. That was the Delgado play with the Mets there on May 18th. And this is really where it all started. There are a lot of ballparks, by the way, that are very, very difficult for umpires to get a good gauge on, whether it's a fair or foul ball. But that's where it started. Then there were like 3 or 4 of them over the next couple of weeks. But really, since then, they've settled down. And you haven't seen many of those. I saw a game at Fenway Park just a week ago where there were 3 very difficult plays. And you know Fenway is probably the toughest boundary ballpark to get a good ruling on from the umpires. And the umpires nailed all 3 of them. They got all 3 of them right without using replay. So I know that I've had my mind changed on this thing. I thought instant replay was definitely the way to go. I'm not so sure now. I'm not sure it has a place in baseball. The runner goes, and the pitch is down low for ball 4, and Gross takes a well-earned walk against Weaver. That'll put runners at first and second for Tampa Bay.
Mike Socha, watching his starting pitcher tonight, he's either been really good, as he was in the first and third, where he struck out the side both times, or he's been really bad. All of a sudden in the second inning, he got 2 outs and nobody on. They got him into the stretch. Hinske got on base, as he has here in the 4th inning. That's when he gave up the 3.
Riggins with an RBI single in the 2nd inning. Weaver looking for a double play ball here. He's 2-0 with a 1.93 ERA against Tampa Bay in his career. Pitched a gem against them earlier this season, giving up 1 earned run in 8 innings. He has Hinske at second and Gross at first, trying to protect a 1-run lead in the bottom of the 4th. The runners go. The pitch is low. The throw to third and got him. Hinske is cut down. Gross is into second base. But on the double steal, Hinske, who had stolen second base in the 2nd inning, he is cut down here in the 4th.
You got a veteran player and you give him the green light. If he thinks he can pick a pitch to go on and he can make it, that's what Joe Maddon has done. Look at this. It's a breaking ball down and away, a real tough pitch to handle. But all of a sudden, Mathis comes up with it down, gets around the hitter, and makes a perfect peg to get the 2nd out of the inning.
No stolen base awarded to Gross as the trailer. Here's Riggins now trying to pick up that RBI with 2 out. That one right down the chute. You played the game. Back to replay just quickly. Put a bow on this thing.
I'm for it.
You're for it.
I am for it. Yes, I am for it. Because we've seen even in the postseason where you put the extra 2 umpires down the line, a lot of times, OB, that doesn't help. They're out of position. They've not been in that position all year long, and it's tough for them to get the call right.
Off the edge, 2 balls and 1 strike. And to that point, back to Fenway Park, I was recently told by an umpire the worst position to be in to make a home run call on the Green Monster is close to it. The best view is the umpire at home plate. And he's deeper away from that play than anybody.
Well, let's go with the Red Sox losing the World Series instead of the Cubs. Okay,
next time.
They've won 2. I mean, you know, we're talking 1908, OB.
I hear you. My mistake. 3-1 on Riggins.
Hold off, Aaron. I think we'll send OB up to the catwalk after all. You're right.
Tell you what, I'll go to the top of the Green Monster. We're still sending Aaron out there to the catwalk.
Well, isn't that where models the catwalk? Isn't that what it's called?
You should know. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a lot of modeling. The ESPYs?
Yes.
What was that called?
It was a runway. Yeah. With carpet. Big swing and a miss by Riggins. He tried to tear into that one. Weaver does have 7 strikeouts. He struck out the side in the 1st and in the 3rd. It's a pretty good zip on that fastball.
You got to be patient here, though. Make him throw a strike.
If he strikes out Riggins here, it'll be a new season high for the right-hander Jared Weaver. Just a piece of it for Riggins. Bartlett, who has an RBI triple tonight, is on deck.
Remember when we talked about in the open, the #1 priority for Mike Scioscia's catchers is to get the starting pitcher deep into the game. Mathis not liking what he saw there. That was basically Weaver just saying, here it is, hit it. This is a different situation. You've got a base open. You got the #9 guy coming up next. I mean, you got to make a pitch here. You're dealing with a 1-run lead. It's not like, you've got a 5-run lead where you can just challenge people.
80 pitches, a heavy load for this point in the 4th inning.
He threw 105 in his last start in just 5 1/3 innings. So this has been kind of the norm for Weaver the last several starts.
And yet he's only walked 1 man in this game. The payoff spoiled again.
OB, we were talking about it before the game with several people. Weaver's 10-9. 1 game over 500 on a team that's 28 games over 500. What if he's pitching just like he is for the Washington Nationals this year?
He might have a couple wins.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Well, the tying run at second base, scoring position here for the Rays. Weaver trying to freeze him. Pretty pesky at bat here by Riggins. And the pitch count continues to go up for Weaver.
Navarro, the everyday catcher for the Rays, having a great year this year. An all-star. To play at Yankee Stadium in that 15-inning affair. But Riggins in there tonight mainly because he was there 5 days ago when Garza threw the 2-hit shutout.
And Garza and Navarro have not always seen eye to eye this season. They had a disagreement on the hill very publicly earlier this season, and that went inside the dugout. He has caught him since. Popped up, isn't playable. Teixeira looking for some room near the stands and can't get there, and caught that angle and went down. And took a spill, and Teixeira comes up smiling. But it's kind of been a way of it tonight for the Angels, having difficulty making plays down those lines.
I think he's kind of laughing at himself here. You know, he gets to the rail, but he got to the part of the wall where he couldn't go back to get the baseball. Look at him, he checks it. All right, now I'm there. Now let me go get the ball. Well, that's where it angled back out. He caught his back on it. I mean, you got to laugh at it.
Two-time Gold Glover, but not this time. Here comes the 10th pitch of this at bat to Sean Riggins. Man at second. Hits softly. Ibar has to hustle and gets it there in plenty of time.
That's a nice play, boy. It's a nice play.
One man left frozen at second base. It's still 4-3 Angels at the end of 4 at the Trop. Well, the Little League World Series continues on ESPN Thursday. The semis coming up at 4 o'clock, an international semifinal. That's Mexico against Latin America, and at 8 o'clock Eastern, the U.S. That's Southwest against Southeast. Lake Charles, Louisiana against Tampa, Florida. The Little League World Series presented by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes Gold on ESPN Thursday. And everybody abuzz here in the Tampa area as they're sending in another team to the Little League World Series.
You know, Figgins is a Tampa guy. Some of the players were laughing before the game. You know how Mom's cooking always gets a lot of credit? Mm-hmm. Mom was kind of getting criticized for the 0 for 8 that he had coming into play tonight. Maybe he got a little too much of it.
Carrying a little too heavy. Well, he's doubled in a run and scored, so he's running pretty well tonight. When you think about this area and what a hotbed for baseball it has been, starting with the Little Leagues, guys like Gareth Sheffield and Doc Gooden. And Luis Gonzalez, so many guys. Lou Pinella's from this area. Quite a list, and an all-star list of tremendous baseball talent. A squibber along the line, fair ball. O'Brien makes the play. Aaron Andrews, I know that you're a Florida native, so to speak, and you're very familiar with the baseball talent in this area.
Yeah, Sean Figgins actually went to my rival high school here in the Tampa Bay area. There's a little nugget for you. But hey, the Little League team here from Tampa, the Citrus Park team, of course, they're in the U.S. semifinals, as you mentioned. The Tampa Bay Rays donating $2,500 to the players' parents because Little League been out there the past couple years. They pay for the kids to go, but the parents have to finance it on their own to go stay out there in Williamsport. So the Rays taking care of that, and also when the kids get back, they will be special guests here at the Trop. I'm sure they'll get to go over and touch the Stingrays. And also, I can't tell what they are, but they're going to be getting some fun little gifts when they come to town, so I may come with them.
Everybody loves the fun little gifts. Well, it's the 8th appearance by a Tampa team in the Little League World Series. It's the most by any United States city. The 22nd team from Florida to play in the Little League World Series. You know how many championships? 0. This might be the year.
Well, I know one thing. This is the year you want to come to the Trop and watch the Rays play as opposed to the last 10.
Averaging about 27,000. Given their success and given how hungry they were for a good ball club, that doesn't seem overwhelming.
I think it's coming, don't you? I mean, what was it, 3 or 4 years ago they were rated the worst organization in baseball. Management right on down the line, and then all of a sudden there were some changes at the top, and things have gotten terrific here. I remember the first thing they did, the free parking, you know, just to entice to come on out, you know, buy a ticket, but you can park free to come watch us play.
So now you're getting a chance to see the team with the best record in Major League Baseball, tied with the Cubs for that honor. Obviously best in the American League coming into tonight. They've changed everything from the uniforms.
Yeah. To the name.
$18 million renovation. That's right. Inside the ballpark, the renovation and the name change, dropping the devil. And there for strike 3. High bar will take a seat. Good fastball at 95 from Garza. As we go back to the studio for an update, and here's Scotty Reese.
OB, check out our Lotriman Ultra Power Performance of the night. It comes courtesy of Ramon Hernandez.
Drive for Ramon.
This deep left center. Look at the effort by Coco Crisp. Up and over and didn't catch it, but boy, an A for effort. Still, it's a 3-run shot. The O's tack on one more, now lead Boston 7-4, bottom 4, guys.
Scott, thank you very much. The Red Sox had a lead in that one, but Buchholz got knocked around. Here's Teixeira. He has walked and also driven in a run with an RBI ground out. Nobody on base, and this one flicked into left. Hinsky is there. Another strong inning from Garza, who has retired 7 in a row. Still 4-3 Angels. And it's the number 9 hitter Bartlett, who has tripled in a run tonight, followed by Iwamura and then B.J. Upton. Tampa Bay down 1 against right-hander Jared Weaver, whose pitch count is rising quickly. And he gets a routine fly ball to Torrey Hunter. And Bartlett is 1 for 2.
When successful, let's take a look at the reason why for Matt Garza. His fastball command has been really good, setting up an opportunity to get people to chase the breaking ball. There you see Rivera with the ball down. There you see it once again. But look at the command. Look at that fastball on the inside corner. Take a look at him painting the outside corner, getting the call, 3rd strike. And there he is once again, going to the inside part of the plate. Teixeira there, that's just a fastball away, a routine fly ball to left. It comes all off that fastball command. Remember, when he set it all up with the walk to Rodriguez, that's what opened the gate and cost him the lead.
Now, 4 of the 5 innings, they haven't had a hit against him. Up to 75 pitches. Iwamura has struck out and grounded out tonight. So Garza threw 5 with 5 strikeouts. And all those pitchers we just saw came after that rocky 3rd inning when he gave up 4 runs. Iwamura has really been a stalwart defensively. He's only committed 4 errors. It's a big part of the Rays' success.
This guy's known nothing but success in his career. Remember him with Team Japan, playing 3rd base for them along with Ichiro and of course Fukudome of the Cubs. This guy, you know, they won the World Baseball Classic. He knows how to win. I mean, not only doing a nice job as the leadoff guy, I think their main overall strength is their infield defense.
Well, particularly now that Bartlett is 100%, he really pulls the whole thing together. When Longoria is healthy, they're about as good as it gets on the infield. And Iwamura, a huge part of that. He's also been batting around 300 for close to 100 games. Still 3-2.
I still think back on that World Baseball Classic in Japan, how they played so well. But I think about Team USA and the lesson that they learned, Obi. They learned that you've got to get individuals to play as a team. And boy, did Japan do that.
Iwamura, of course, moved from 3rd over to 2nd and make room for the rookie Longoria this year. He will take a seat here. Strikeout number 8 for Jared Weaver. That is a season high. Let's take a look at K-Zone to see how he got Akinura Iwamura.
Take a look at the pitch here. Look at the glove. I mean, not a whole lot you can do about that. You mentioned earlier, Aki, I mean, he sees as many pitches as anybody in baseball. Not able to do anything there.
It's 2nd in the American League in pitches seen per plate appearance. Upton's had a tough night. He has K'd twice in the 1st and again in the 3rd. And if I can, one correction. I mentioned the attendance here was not the correct number. They're averaging 21,000 at Tropicana Field, not 27,000. It didn't feel like 27 to me. But as you point out, it is coming. They've had some big crowds, particularly when they have division foes in here. And when they had the Cubs here, they do very well for that series as they swept Chicago. They also went 3-1 against the White Sox. Tagged into right, Guerrero on the run all the way to the wall. He makes the catch and then thuds into the fence. Upton sent that one for a ride, but Vladimir Guerrero hauls it in, and it turns out to be a quick inning for Jared Weaver. A flash of defense from Vlad, the Impaler. impaling that right field wall. And Weaver likes it. 4-3 Angels. Top 6 here at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. Rick Sutcliffe, Dave O'Brien, and Aaron Andrews with you on a Wednesday night. Here's Vladimir Guerrero, just made a fine play in right field. And that one hit him. He has been struck by the pitch, says Jerry Meals. And Vladimir is off to first base. So the leadoff man is on. Garza hits Guerrero.
Leadoff man on for just the second time tonight. The last time that happened for the Angels, they were able to score 4 runs. They've been pounding Vladimir in with that fastball. We mentioned last night he homered the opposite field, not wanting to let him extend those arms for anything, just catching a piece of it.
Yep, grazed his number, it looked like, on the jersey. That'll send up Torrey Hunter, who is grounded out to third and single. The Angels looking for a little bit of breathing room here for their starter, Jared Weaver. A strike on Hunter.
Mike Scioscia talking about Vladimir, saying another part of the reason that he's gotten hot along with Teixeira is the fact that his legs have gotten healthier. He was offered the opportunity to DH tonight to get off that turf, and he came in saying, no, I feel good.
He looked at making that nice play in right and slamming up against the wall. Foul tip. That one got a piece of Riggins. 0-2.
You know, just thinking about the trade, OB, from Minnesota, letting Garza get away. I know Delman Young has a chance to be a good player and having a decent year, 290 with about 50 RBIs. This guy's got a chance to be really, really special. Earlier in the year, they sent him to a sports psychologist. It was someone that manager Joe Madden knew. It's not like it's intense therapy or anything. He just, you know what, he takes control of the situation. That's what has happened. That's been the difference. That's what he's trying to do now.
The 0-2 to Hunter is down and in. Look, Garza had a reputation in Minnesota, and Troy Percival, who's been a closer, now hurt again for Tampa Bay, but he came up to Garza early in spring training and laid it on the line for him in front of the whole team, saying basically, are you going to be the big jerk, in so many words, that you were in Minnesota? And Garza was like, well, what are you talking about? Is that my rep? And Percival kind of laughed. He said, well, yeah, of course, everybody knows that. Did he go? He did not, according to the first base umpire, Darling. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Percival has kind of done to the pitchers what Cliff Floyd did to the everyday players in that role, taking a lot of pressure off their manager, Joe Madden.
Well, the chemistry has really worked here in St. Petersburg for the Tampa Bay Rays. Tied with the Cubs for the best record in the majors. Despite some big injuries, no signs whatsoever that they are ready to fold. Cut on and missed. A nasty pitch there by Garza to strike out Torrey Hunter.
OB, it's that 2-seam fastball you talked about in the very first inning. Take a look at the late movement down and below K zone there to get the 3rd strike. This is what they've talked about has been the difference in him this year as opposed to last year. Slowing the situations down. Not so much to where it comes to a halt, but just kind of taking control of the situation. Even after he just touched Vladimir, you put the guy on base, he comes right back making good pitches.
Here's Garrett Anderson, who's gone 0 for 2 tonight. Remember, a 22-game hitting streak for the veteran. He's the DH tonight. Pumped in there for a strike. Now, you mentioned a sports psychologist and Garza getting some help there through Madden's suggestion. It was fascinating listening to Michael Phelps' coach talk the other day after he won his 8th gold medal. He said, you know, with a lot of athletes, we consider that. With him, we would never, ever consider sending Phelps to a sports psychologist because he had it all figured out. He didn't need any help. As far as his mental preparation, he was perfect in every way. He had that Michael Jordan sense of, I'm going to go right through you if I have to. I'll do everything I need, and I'll do it all myself. I don't need help. A lot of athletes do need help.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it at all.
And let the experts handle that help.
Breaking ball, but that missed.
I used to laugh at it. I remember I had a teammate named Joe Beckwith, and he needed a sports psychologist, and he was rooming with me. We got called to the big leagues with the Dodgers, and this guy put him out. He had the clock, and he hypnotized him. And I mean, I'm sitting there laughing at it, I didn't believe in it. Well, Greg Maddux taught me to believe in it.
In for a strike on Anderson. That squares the count 2-2.
It's not like you go to the guy every day or every week. I mean, it's just every now and then you check in. And you look at the success of Maddux. Maddux took that to Atlanta. John Smoltz took advantage of it.
Oh, it was a huge tool for Smoltz.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, quite the opposite. Guerrero at first base. Garza looking for a double play ball here. Stroked into right. Gross is backing up on it. Guerrero back to first, and there are 2 down as we go back to Scott Reese for an Orioles-Red Sox update from Camden Yards.
Yeah, OB, Rays fans going to like this as Baltimore continues to pile on the runs. Melvin Mora, a laser. That a 3-run shot. Remember when it was 4-0 Sox? Yeah, how about 10-4 Orioles? Bottom 4, guys.
Melvin Mora has the highest batting average in the majors since the All-Star break. He has been incredible, and there you see the wild card with Red Sox have a 1-game lead over Minnesota. Twins won earlier today.
Be just thinking about Buchholz and his struggles since the no-hitter. He may be seeing a sports psychologist, but he does not look to have the confidence that he did when I first saw him. The stuff's the same.
Stuff is the same, and he still has a great changeup, a good curveball, fastball. Here's Rivera. Garza went to the bare hand and missed it. And Ibar has no play. They're going to be safe at first and second for the Angels. That'll be a base hit for Rivera.
Well, this is all Garza's fault right here. You got a big guy on the mound. He's 6'5", 210 pounds. You get the third out. It's over with, but you just got to go get it. Look at that right there. Look at him. Look at how he pauses, and then all of a sudden it's like he looks around. Then he goes to barehand it. If he reacts immediately, he's able to get a glove on that ball instead of trying for the bare hand, and the inning would have been over.
Well, instead it's first and second with 2 down. And the number 8 hitter Rodriguez to dig in.
I mean, he's made great pitches this whole inning. All right, you hit Vladimir. You just touched him trying to move him off the plate. But then you strike out Torrey. You get the fly ball. Now you get the ground ball. The inning should be over with. But in baseball, if you don't make that play, now you make a mistake. Well, all of a sudden you give up a 3-run homer.
The youngster Rodriguez has walked and struck out, although he did score a run in the 3rd inning.
Don't worry about those numbers you just saw. That 182. That's when he got called up earlier in the year. He was struggling at that point. They had a lot of injuries. He figured it out and really started swinging it in AAA.
Well, that was for Salt Lake, and he hit .306 with 21 homers, 19 doubles, and 52 RBIs in 66 games.
Yeah, 20-some homers in 66 games. I got another kid down there playing third base named Brandon Wood. Of course, we've heard about him. They just keep them coming.
Trying to get on the scoreboard again. They have not scored since the 3rd. And now Garza has suddenly fallen behind Sean Rodriguez here.
He's got to be mad at himself, and this is one of those moments. This is a great move on the part of pitching coach Jim Hickey. He's mad at himself. He didn't react. He's thinking right now all I had to do was go get that ball and it was over with. Okay, he got his glove up. I'm mad. I know. Well, wait a minute. Take some of that energy that you're using to be mad and put it into making a good pitch, and let's keep this a 1-run ball game. Here it is again. You just take a look. There it is. Go get it. Go get it. No, that's too late. Now you got a guy, Rivera, who does not run well. He had plenty of time. You could have chased that ball back if you would have reacted to begin with. Just a moment where he just lapsed mentally. That's not laziness. He just had a mental lapse thinking, all right, I made the pitch, somebody make the play. Every now and then as a pitcher, you've got to make that play.
It did go as an infield hit, but certainly a mental lapse by Garza. 89 pitches for him. The 2-0 after the visit from Hickey. Now 3 balls and no strikes. If he loads them up, Mathis is up next. He has pretty good power. The Angels with a 4-3 lead in the 6th. Tampa Bay has won the first 2 games in the series. That's low, and he walks him on 4 straight. After not getting the little tapper by Rivera, they're all filled up. So here comes Jeff Mathis, who has already singled tonight and grounded out. This really all Garza's own doing. A hit Bassman. He mishandled the little tapper, and now ball 4.
That great defense that we've talked about for the Rays. Not much they can do to help him here.
Mathis just a 209 hitter, but there's no place to put him. Low for ball 1. And Vladimir Guerrero, who's hit by the pitch. Rivera, the infield single. Rodriguez, who took the walk, is at first. Popped him up. Looks like he'll get out of it. Gross is there. And the side is retired. They will leave them loaded. Garza wriggles free. Still 4-3 Angels here at Tropicana Field. Back at Tropicana Field on a Wednesday night, it is 4-3 the Angels leading the Rays, the 2 top teams in the American League, out of the bottom half of the 6th inning. Back when he was healthy and productive, Rocco Baldelli was a very, very popular player here. In 2003, he drove in 78 runs, hitting .289. But boy, the injuries have piled up. Missed all of 2005, 2006, 53 games with a strained hamstring. That continued to be a problem. And then a disorder that sapped him of all his strength, missing 116 games to this point. But he is back. And because of their injuries piling on to guys like Carl Crawford, he has made it all the way back to the big league level when many thought he would never get back, as Carlos Pena has struck out twice tonight, fouls it off for strike 1. So Baldelli getting an opportunity to be part of this terrific story here in St. Petersburg.
Wasn't that long ago, he was really the face of this organization.
They activated him when Carl Crawford was disabled. That one misses. 1-1 on Pena.
Remember that? Remember Crawford and him and Young in the outfield, that dream team?
Well, he's getting an opportunity to play in a pennant race, and just the fact that he is playing at this point, that he's an active major leaguer, even he admits he's semi-amazed by it after all that has happened to Rocco. He's part of the past here for the Rays, which of course was nothing but losing until now.
Well, and I think he's an inspiration to the future of people that have the same disorder.
Pena lays off, and the count goes to 3-1.
You know, you hope that these last 6 weeks that, you know, Baldelli's able to do something.
Well, Aaron Andrews will be by in just a moment for Rocco Baldelli's big league moments. The 3-1 to Pena. Now a full count. Boy, he really works a pitcher.
Tell you what, speaking of Baldelli, a couple of left-handed hitters coming up. Mike Scioscia always ahead of the game, has his left-handed reliever ready to go. Baldelli may pinch hit here in this inning.
Floyd on deck. It is the heart of the order.
Switch hitter Ibar, and then 2 left-handers after that. I would imagine that's what Oliver's getting ready for.
The 3-2 up the middle. Oh, what a play by Weaver as he snatches that one. That was ticketed for the outfield. Pena has one stolen. And for the big league moment on Rocco Baldelli, let's go to Aaron Andrews.
Well, as you mentioned, Rocco Baldelli back with the Rays. September 17th, 2003, a very big night for him. The Devil Rays at the time were at Fenway on Rhode Island night at Fenway Park. And Rocco Baldelli, growing up from Woonsocket, Rhode Island, he hit a home run that night. And so I asked him, what's your big league moment? He said, yeah, that was pretty nice. But how about this for a little trivia? Every year that he's played for the Rays, he's hit a home run on his mom's birthday, September 14th, and her name is Michelle. And by the way, in that series on September 14th, he hit a home run there at Fenway Park. A little bit more on Rocco's disorder, guys, and just talking to him about it. Obviously, he's taking a lot of medication for this. He's really had to abbreviate his batting practice. Sometimes he says he won't even participate in it, really trying to conserve his energy. When the team was out there stretching, he was sitting on the bench drinking as much fluids and power bars as he could.
All right, Aaron, thank you very much. And my understanding is, I mean, he's gone through this disorder to the point where at the very beginning of it, he couldn't even raise his arms. He couldn't run. He'd be totally wasted in terms of his energy after a very brief workout. It really was an awful thing. He's been able to combat that and get back to the major league level. That unto itself is incredible. Cliff Floyd takes one on the inside corner. He's 0 for 2.
I had to check the schedule out. So I guess on September the 14th, when they play at Yankee Stadium, Baldelli's going to hit another home.
He's a good son. Year after year. Floyd has flied to center and struck out. Always a threat to take it out of the ballpark as he looks at a breaking ball. 2-2. You mentioned Darren Oliver throwing in that bullpen down the left field line. Bullpens are right on the field here at Tropicana.
We're doing a game earlier this year where Chipper Jones is always doing something big on his birthday.
Still 2-2 on Floyd. And Chipper Jones churning his way toward a batting title in the National League. The American League's quite a fight between 3 or 4 guys, including Johnny Damon, who's been right in the mix.
You know, just when I think about what happened to the Braves, all I got to do is look at first base for the Angels.
Yeah, Teixeira, that's right. No longer a member of the Atlanta club. Miss Floyd with a good eye there. 3-2, runs it full.
John Smoltz going down. Tom Glavine, you don't know what's going to happen. Hudson hurt. Kotze's been hurt a lot of the year. Francoeur got sent down for a little while. McCann had the concussion.
Chipper Jones, by the way, hitting .365 to lead the National League. Albert Pujols second at .347.
He's not been healthy all year, though, Chipper. Soriano, their closer, has been on the DL several times.
The payoff from Weaver and a big swing and a miss, and Floyd strikes out for the second time. He is 0 for 3. Well, when you can't be home to watch your favorite Major League Baseball team, check out MLB.tv. You can watch every out-of-market game this season live online. For more details, visit www.mlb.com. That's MLB.tv. And keep watching. Weaver continues to protect his 1-run lead. He has just struck out his 9th man. That ties his career high as he got Cliff Floyd with the swing and a miss.
Well, if he wants to better it, he better get this guy. I think this might be the last hitter he faces tonight.
It's Willie Ibar. He has struck him out already tonight. Ibar has also popped out. He is 0 for 2. The first 5 men in the Tampa Bay order, Iwamura, Upton, Pena, Floyd, and Ibar, are a combined 0 for 11. None of them have reached base once tonight. Nobody on here for Ibar. His little brother Eric is out there playing shortstop these days for Mike Scioscia's Angels.
How cool would that be?
Play against your little brother.
Oh, yeah.
All those years playing with him in the backyard. Here's the 3-1 pitch. That one socked high and deep to right field. Guerrero is back, circling. He's there to make the catch. Tampa Bay fans thought they had seen a game-tying home run, but Weaver holds again. He gets them in order. He also made a fine defensive play to save a hit. We'll see if that's all for him. 4-3 Angels.
ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball. Brought to you by Las Vegas. Crazy time calls for crazy fun. Go to visitlasvegas.com.
Lovely night here in Tampa St. Pete. They haven't had a drop of rain here. Thankfully, the storm went right on by. Took a right-hand turn and just kept on going. Now, it is not the case for everybody, and a lot of folks did get pounded, and the storm in some instances was deadly.
I was wondering about that. what our bosses were thinking, whether they were trying to get rid of us or something.
Sending us down here to Tampa St. Pete.
Yeah, watch it. I mean, all kinds of flights canceled.
Well, I'm just glad. Certainly on this side of the state, everyone was safe and sound.
And there's no question, this is the game right here. I mean, these are the teams where we could very well be looking at this in the American League Championship Series.
Right now, they are 1-2. Tampa Bay with the best record in the American League and tied for the best record in baseball. And the Angels right behind them. Although the Angels are trying to solve the puzzle. Chad Bradford, who quietly was a real good veteran pickup for their bullpen. Tampa Bay getting ready down the right field line. That's where they steps away, and it's a ball. He has gone 1 for 3.
Obi, that's where they spent their money. Down in that bullpen with Percy. It's a lot like it was for Mike Scioscia back in 2002. Remember the bullpen he had then, Percy and the no names? Well, there's one name that we know real well right now, and that would be Mr. K-Rod.
Francisco Rodriguez now with 47 saves. That one is in there for a called strike. They'd love to be able to get this game to him. When you talk about Cy Young, or even most valuable player in the American League, his name is coming up a lot. And he's on pace for 62 saves, which would shatter the all-time record. Now when poked toward the hole, Bartlett with a long throw, skips it close, safe. Figgins beats it out. Payne with a long stretch. But Figgins has an infield hit. The crowd didn't like the call. The umpires in the stands, but Figgins is on for the second time.
Bartlett did absolutely everything he could, taking advantage of the turf. He got to the ball. He got off a strong and accurate throw. Did the one-hop thing. We remember Davey Concepcion doing with the big red machine. Comes up with it, but the speed of Figgins just too much.
Ooh, but he should be out at first base.
And instead of Joe Madden going to first base to argue with crew chief Gary Darling, he's coming out to talk to Matt Garza, his starting pitcher.
So Gary Darling missed that call. You'll see it later.
Well, it was Darling who backed up home plate umpire Jerry Meals last night when he threw out and called out B.J. Upton. Look at that. He's out. I mean, that's not that tough of a call.
Wasn't that close.
And no argument from the Rays. Madden's been thrown out 9 times in his career. I had to laugh when I saw that 5 of them, including last night, were against the Angels.
They booted because of the controversial play at first base last night, where the then first base umpire Jerry Meals was behind the plate tonight. He called out B.J. Upton, saying Upton had turned after a play at the bag in the direction of second, as if he were making a move there, and had committed. A bunt kiss toward third base, fielded by Ibar, and up and over in plenty of time to get his brother down to second, moves Figgins. So the Angels playing for at least one more run here, ahead 4-3 in the 7th inning. Seems like up and down their lineup, the Angels under Scioscia do those things well.
You have to, or you don't play for Mike Scioscia. You talk about a wonderful clubhouse, and you talk about discipline, you talk about support from the very top. I remember a few years ago, remember when Jose Guillen was a problem for Mike Scioscia? He went away real quick.
Not very long, yeah. I was going to say, not a problem for a very long time. Here's Teixeira now, has an RBI tonight on a ground out. Officially 0 for 2 with a walk, has a runner at second base in the speedy Figgins. The other thing the Angels have liked to do over the years, now you've got a big RBI guy here at the plate, you got Guerrero next, wouldn't expect it, but they don't mind stealing third. Vladimir is really cooking with the bat.
You're just not going to steal off Garza. He didn't allow a stolen base last year, only 2 out of 3 this year.
Grounded foul outside first. Now 0-2, and Teixeira broke his bat. He'll be off to get a new one.
Bartlett coming in to talk to his young pitcher. saying, hey, you know, just keep an eye back here, just like he does with a runner at first. You just got to vary your delivery to home plate a little bit, and then he's not going anywhere. You got a left-handed hitter, catcher with a perfect lane to make the throw to third base. Very, very difficult to steal third base.
Teixeira has been such a big RBI guy. He's averaged 118 RBIs the last 4 years. Over that span, averaging 36 home runs. Trying to hold up. He foul tipped it into the mitt for strike 3. A big K for Garza. A huge out there, 2 down.
Well, this is the difference in the young kid here. You got a man in scoring position. You got a tight ball game. Paints the outside corner with the first pitch. Paints the inside corner for strike 2. And then look at the backdoor slider down below K zone to get Mark Teixeira. I mean, this guy doesn't strike out very often. He knows the strike zone, but he was completely fooled there by Garza.
7 strikeouts for Garza. We came on the air talking about how it looked like a pitcher's duel at the outset. Then Tampa got 3 in the second inning. The Angels got 4 in the third, and we were scratching our heads. They're going to put Guerrero on here with first base open and pitch to Torrey Hunter instead. Well, Weaver really settled down, and so did Garza, and it has turned into that pitcher's duel over time. They will not mess with Guerrero, who has driven in 20 runs in his last 16. Instead, it'll be Torrey Hunter they will pitch to. He is 1 for 3.
I remember as a young kid in the big leagues, Don Drysdale talking about this same situation where I had gotten 4 runs early in a ball game, turned right around and gave up 5. And he said the only thing you can do is have the mentality of it being a 1-run ball game. If you think about you gave up 5, you're defeated. I mean, you're going to be frustrated with everything that goes on. All you got to think about, you know what? I'm down by 1 run. I've got to keep it right there, and I got a chance to win this game.
That can't be easy to do, though.
It's not, particularly for a young guy, but credit to both of these young pitchers tonight for being able to do that.
Well, they have. They managed to block it out and really attack the hitters. Now Torrey Hunter was driven in 65 runs. He has runners at first and second. And excellent speed there at second base and Figgins.
Well, Torrey's an excellent player, but he's not Vladimir Guerrero. And this is the right decision no matter how it works out.
Garza has 2 down. And ball 1 on Hunter. The lefty hitting Anderson is on deck.
Well, and there's a left-hander down in Joe Madden's bullpen. He knows that. Garza, this will be the last hitter he faces tonight.
Matt Garza, 10-game winner. He's been splendid at home. He's 6-2 here. Broken back ground ball. Diving play by Ibar. It spits out of his glove, and everyone's going to be safe. They're going to be loaded up. Now, Hunter runs very well. You wonder if Bartlett wanted a crack at that. Ibar has it go in and out of the glove. It'll be a base hit for Hunter, and the bases are juiced here for the Angels.
A good effort on the part of Ibar, but I thought he had to let it go. Even if he comes up with it, he's got no play. Bartlett at least had made the turn and was coming in the direction of where the throw would have gone. Look at him going down there. That play's over with. But look at Bartlett. See how he was coming? He might have been able to get Torrey Hunter on the same kind of play that he lost Figgins on.
Madden wants the left-hander. That's all for Garza, who leaves behind a big mess here. And 109 pitches. They'll bring on the southpaw. Garza will get a nice hand, but he's down 1 to the Angels in the 7th. The Angels and the Rays almost mirror images of one another, and the Angels have the 1-run lead, but they've loaded up the bases here in the top half of the 7th inning. Trevor Miller about to make his 55th appearance of the season. The left-hander brought in to face Garrett Anderson.
And that'll be the only guy that he faces tonight, but the game is in the balance right now with the outcome here.
Anderson, who's hit in 22 straight games, is 0 for 3.
Matt Garza threw
109 pitches for Garza over 6 2/3, giving up 4 runs, 7 hits. But these 3 men on base belong to him. 4-3 Angels. And Anderson trying to bust it open. He has hit 13 homers. In for a strike, 1-1.
It's a tough spot here for Jared Weaver. he makes an out. You might, you get a 1-run lead. He gets a big hit here. You can break it open.
The Rays bullpen has enjoyed an extraordinary reversal of fortune from last year. That's in for a strike. They have held the opposition to a .217 batting average. That's the lowest in the majors. Their bullpen was horrendous last year. The third highest ERA in the last 50 years. Now it's the fourth lowest in the majors. Miller with a 1-2. And he got him. He struck him out looking. Garza and the Rays are still alive and kicking at the Trop. That's the second time tonight the Angels have loaded the bases and left them loaded. Miller fired up. It's a 1-run game.
It's the fourth time he's done it.
Well, Tampa Bay is down a run. They're looking for their second sweep of the Angels in 2008 here at Tropicana Field. Darren Oliver, the veteran who's been in the big league since 1993, delivering to Ben Zobrist, who is pinch hitting. He's hitting for Hinsky, so they get a right-handed stick up there against Oliver. Native of Kansas City, Missouri. Great American town. Flirts with a bunt and takes a strike, and it's 1-1.
He's not going to be out there for long. Arredondo is up and throwing down there in the bullpen for Mike Scioscia. You get Hinsky out of the ball game. He was already 2 for 2. But I think the biggest play of the night so far was Hinsky getting thrown out at third, trying to steal third base with just 1 out back in the bottom of the 4th inning. Remember, the successful stolen base that he had in the second didn't work out in the 4th.
Little blooper toward right. Vladimir got a late start but gets there. And Zobrist is 0 for 1. We came on the air talking, Sud, about Mike Scioscia's winning baseball formula, building everything toward the closer.
Well, building a pyramid is what Mike talks about, and this guy's got as much experience as anybody. You talk about keeping not only the arms fresh, but keeping the attitudes positive, OB, for these guys who really don't get a whole lot of credit. Yeah, they've got their appearances, they got their ERAs, but they normally don't get wins and they don't get saves, but they're very important to teams winning championships.
And it all ends usually very well with K-Rod.
Well, K-Rod was part of the pyramid leading up to, remember, Percy and the No-Names. When Troy Percival was a closer back in '02 when they won the World Championship, he was part of the pyramid. Now he's the top of it.
And of course, when healthy, Percival has been, after coming out of retirement, the closer for Tampa Bay. He's hurt again. It was hamstrings before. Now it's torn cartilage in a knee. He wants to get back in there to help them down the stretch drive and says he will. He is putting off surgery.
Well, I saw a number. In the 32 games he's come in and saved situations, they're 32-0.
The 2-0 to Gross is up top. He has singled in a run and taken ball 4. Brent Balfour throwing in the bullpen. And that's off the outside. He walked him. Gross is on base for the 3rd time. Quickly, let's go back for a studio update and our man Scott Reese. Scotty.
OB, it's the Phillies and the Nats and the Brett Myers show as he strikes out Aaron Boone to end it. 9th strikeout for the Phils hurler and a 4-0 gem. 3rd career shutout for Myers. The Mets, by the way, finish off the Braves 6-3 as Mike Pelfrey goes the distance for the first time in his career. So still a 1.5 spread. Mets over the Phils in the NL East. Guys.
Scott, thank you. And what a comeback from Myers. Scioscia wants a pitching change. Arredondo's a very live arm coming out of the bullpen, and we'll be back at the Trop in just a moment. Well, the Rays looking for a come-from-behind victory at home, and who needs the rally monkey, which of course was the staple and still is for the Angels in Southern California. This 24-year-old from the Dominican has a very live arm. Look at the ERA, a 1.10 ERA for Jose Arredondo.
Wasn't that long ago this guy was a shortstop in the Angels organization.
Yep, just 4 years ago, and they converted him because of his terrific arm to the hill. Here's Riggins. A runner on at first base, 1 out. Tampa Bay trailing the Angels by 1. It's been that way since the Angels scored 4 times in the 3rd inning. They were trailing 3-0 when they rallied. Lots of zeros on the scoreboard since, both ways. 1 ball and 1 strike on the catcher.
Well, they not only convert him into a reliever, but with Francisco Rodriguez a free agent at the end of this year, he may be converted into their closer next year.
You saw there on the radar gun a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, so he can bring it. Popped him up on the infield. Here's Teixeira taking command. 2 down. He goes from 95 to 86.
Well, a nice little cutter. Little off-speed pitch on the outer half there, picking up the 2nd out. I think back to years ago when an organization converted a shortstop into a reliever. A kid named Trevor Hoffman. That worked out pretty well.
Yeah, they did okay with that.
I think the Angels would be happy to get half the saves out of Arredondo that Trevor Hoffman has recorded.
Trevor Hoffman headed to the Hall of Fame one day. Jason Bartlett has tripled and also flied out.
I mean, that's an easy 95, is it not? Reminds me a lot of Francisco Rodriguez. I've never seen the kid sweat. Day games, night games, tight spots, just cold-blooded, tough.
Popped up. Is it playable? Mathis back toward the screen. He's there with room to make the catch. Arredondo does it again. The Rays 1 hit since the 2nd inning. Angels pitching has been too tough. 4-3 Angels.
ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball. Brought to you by Unum. Better benefits at work. And Sonic. It's not just good, it's Sonic good.
Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida, and a good one here. 4-3. The Angels still cling to that 1-run lead that they earned way back in the 3rd inning. Zobrist will remain in the game in left field. And Madden will dip into his fine bullpen and bring on the Australian Grant Balfour.
You want to see a good fastball? We've seen a lot of them tonight. You're going to see another one right here.
He gets the bottom 3rd of the order for the Angels. Rivera, Rodriguez, and Mathis to start the 8th inning. Rivera has gone 1 for 3.
19,157.
19,157. The crowd here tonight. You wonder how many were scared away, maybe had plans to see the ball game, but because of the storm heading this way, never did make it. It took that right-hand turn back through Orlando, but you wonder how many may have canceled their plans. Wiggins really got crossed up on this one, didn't he? He paid the price.
We might need a trainer here.
And the catcher with Balfour there. Take another look. Oof.
You know, Riggins is not the everyday catcher. It was almost like he wasn't really looking for a breaking ball, or he would have dropped to his knee. Like he was looking for a little cut action to that fastball at the end of it. I mean, that should have been a strike. It was called a strike. Thank you. The scoreboard had it wrong.
Deanna Navarro, the regular #1, resting tonight. He's caught a lot. Rivera fouls that one away. Navarro's had a terrific year, really, an all-star.
He has taken charge. That's been the biggest surprise to me. And we were told that before the season, manager Joe Madden talked to Navarro, saying, you know what, kid, this is your last chance. Everybody else has given up on you, and we're about to. He hit .227 last year.
On the corner, he got him looking for strike 3. Rivera has a couple of quick words for Jerry Meals, but he'll go back to take a seat.
I don't know why he's arguing with Jerry. I mean, you know what you're going to get. There's no fooling around with Balfour. He's going to throw the fastball.
Oh, that's a great pitch.
It's a great pitch, but when you know what's coming, what do you do? You're right.
95 paint.
Well, here it comes again. It's going to be 95.
Rodriguez takes low and away. He has walked twice and struck out. That one 95. Angels still on top by 1 as he pounds in a strike. Balfour spends his off seasons back home in Australia. Does allow swimming and boating. He went on a wine tour of Australia, of the vineyards, this last off season, and I'm sure that's a project near and dear to the heart of his manager. Joe Madden is a big wine guy. Has a big sign above his desk in his office that says "Got Wine."
He had 2 bottles all wrapped up on his desk tonight. I walked in, I thought they were for me.
No, he's keeping them. Those are keepers. Cut on and missed. He got another one. He blows away Sean Rodriguez. Now it's time for a Sports Center right now. Here's Scott Reese.
All right, OB, Major League Baseball signs an agreement with the World Umpires Association approving the implementation of instant replay for disputed home run calls. Bud Selig is confident a system will be in place before the playoffs. Ken Griffey Jr. goes deep for the first time in a White Sox uniform. It's career blast number 609, tying him with Sammy Sosa, 5th on the all-time list. Sports Center 11 Eastern. Stay current with ESPN News. OB?
Scotty, thank you. Here's Mathis. He has gone 1 for 3 with a single. That base hit back in the 3rd inning, part of that 4-run uprising against Matt Garza, who didn't give them anything else in terms of runs over the rest of his 6 2/3 innings. 1 ball and 1 strike, again 95.
59 Ks now in 39 2/3 innings for Balfour. That's high school like.
Now, there's little gauging. I don't think it's impossible to gauge how much better this bullpen has become over last year, which was an absolute disaster for Tampa Bay. They could not win a close game. Their bullpen was going to give it away. It's a backbone for this team. In 2008, the count 2-2. The crowd itching for 3 consecutive strikeouts by the Aussie here. Away, just a piece for Mathis to hang in there.
Sounds like a lot more than 19,000, doesn't it?
See the turnaround in that bullpen. Just a 217 average as opposed to a 303 average allowed last year. Looking for that 3rd strike from Balfour. And they get it. As easy as crushing grapes for him. 1, 2, 3 they go. And Balfour blows away Rivera, Rodriguez, and Mathis. They all wind up taking a seat at the hand of the hard-throwing right-hander Balfour. Well, Tampa Bay looking to rally. They are down by 1 here. They have a 4.5 game lead over the Red Sox in the East. Of course, the Angels are coasting, but not tonight. Locked in a tight one here. And for the Angels and for the Rays, we'll beat up there, of course, with Carl Crawford on your right. Liner caught by Ibar.
Wow.
As he takes one away from Akinura Iwamura.
1 or maybe 2. That ball might have been ticketed for the gap and extra bases. There's part of that defense, boy. You wonder why they were able to trade the Gold Glove Award winner Cabrera. Well, they wanted the 18-game winner, starting pitcher John Garland, and they knew they had capable hands to take over the position.
There's been a lot of talk about, as Upton gets in, he's 0 for 3. The Angels may be going after a more sure-handed shortstop, a veteran guy like maybe an Omar Vizquel, say by August 31st.
They lost a lot with his tours when he went down with a thumb injury. He was a big part of their lineup. I mean, hitting second, hitting third at times.
Not a household name, but inside the Angels clubhouse, they raved about Mesiris Turris and how steady he was defensively. He was one of their best situational hitters, very intelligent player. and they felt they lost a lot. That one, no one will catch, down the line by Upton to the warning track. He's heading for second base and will have a stand-up double. And Tampa Bay has the tying run on in the 8th inning. Remember, it was last night when they rallied in the 8th inning. They came from behind and grabbed a victory, 4-2.
How big was the grab of Ibar right now? Had that ball gone, this could have been back-to-back doubles. Took him a while to get going. He struck out the first 2 times, but Upton took Vladimir Guerrero to the wall in right center field his last at bat. Now he takes Rivera to the warning track and wall down the left field line.
Upton with his first hit of the ballgame, and the first hit out of the first 5 batters in the Rays lineup. They finally have somebody on base.
Oh, and not another left-hander in the bullpen for Mike Scioscia.
And Carlos Pena about to dig in on that left side. He has gone 0 for 3. Ibar, the shortstop. A long conversation there with Arredondo.
Well, they're telling the young man you got a base open here. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to walk Pena. You've mentioned his power since the All-Star break.
Really cooking in the last 24 games in particular. Had a hit stolen in the 6th inning by Weaver. He made a terrific defensive play on a line drive. Down that line, that's going to drop in for a base hit and more. Here comes Upton. He'll score to tie it. Pena's into second. And look at him fired up. We are all even at 4-4.
And there's nothing at all wrong with that. They've never had this kind of excitement here in Tampa. They've got it now. This team is playing hard. They're hustling, and they're doing everything right. I promise you that wasn't a conversation that Mike Butcher, the pitching coach, had with Arredondo. Was just to challenge him right down the middle. He gets beat again by a guy swinging a terrific bat.
Pena, who was part of a bad ball club last year, part of a very, very good team here in 2008. And here's Cliff Floyd. Floyd tonight 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a flyout. He struck out 4 times last night against Urban Santana and company. And yet the Rays rallied from 2-0 down to win the ball game, and it was in the 8th inning when Willie Ibar came up with the 2-run single. Dan Wheeler starting to throw in the bullpen. He has taken over the closer spot with Percival down. One man out. 1 ball and 1 strike on Floyd.
You know, after the 4 Ks and 4 bats last night, they'd like to have given the veteran the night off, but they're just so banged up right now. There's nobody that has the presence or the impact. The main reason Pena got a good pitch to hit there was because of the respect for Floyd in the on-deck circle.
Floyd felt something. He needed some extra time there. Look at this, though. 35 come from behind wins for Tampa Bay. 2nd most in the American League. Obviously, the Rays have meant a lot more than the Tigers have in a come from behind category. Tampa Bay with the best record in the American League, tied with the best record in the majors with the Cubs. Check swing foul. 1-2. This is back earlier today during batting practice. Now watch Cliff Floyd. Yeah, kind of tugging on that shoulder.
Oh, you know, he's always had problems with his knees. Look at that. I mean, he came right out.
Really didn't have a good quality swing after that in his BP session. About 5 o'clock today. Will he get one here? 1-2 the count. Pena at second. 2-2.
You know, you look at the other options. You're not going to DH with Navarro. You don't want both your catchers in the game. Liano was a guy. Baldelli and Zobrist. That's all they've got. I mean, if he couldn't DH tonight, they were going to have to DL Cliff Floyd.
He's already missed a month. That was back in April and May. Missed 30 games after right knee surgery. The 2-2. Sock to right field. Here comes Pena. They're going to hold him up as the throw is hustled in by Vladimir Guerrero, who's always had a strong arm. They're on the corners. Pretty good cut there by Cliff Floyd, overcoming the pain. That is 3 consecutive hits.
You always wonder what Cliff Floyd might have been able to do if he could have stayed healthy. He's just never been able to do that. Not even able to play the outfield anymore because of the bad knees, but he can still swing the bat.
Now nobody warming up in the Angels pen. This is all Arredondo. First and third for Tampa Bay. They've tied at 4-4. Looking to rally again, and here was the hero of last night, Willie Ibar.
And it's his inning.
Same inning where he came up with a 2-run single. He takes strike 1. He's hitless tonight. A pop-up, a strikeout, and a flyout. Ibar has gone in and played very, very well since the injury to Longoria as the everyday third baseman. He pops up here. Mathis and Teixeira. Teixeira there, and there are 2 down. So not tonight in the 8th inning for Ibar.
Completely fooled there from the straight changeup. Everybody else had been getting fastballs to hit. Arredondo saying enough of that.
Now Wheeler continues to throw down the right field line, and now Scioscia's going to get a right-hander throwing in his bullpen.
Just inspire up and throwing.
It'll be Ben Zobrist to bat for the 2nd time. He's already hit once tonight where he flied out to right field in the 7th. Well, here in the 8th inning, he can give Tampa Bay the lead. The first time since the 2nd inning. Ball 1. Pena the runner at third base. Cliff Floyd over at first. Tampa Bay has out hit the Angels 8-7. Two 2-0. Gross on deck. He has an RBI single and he's walked twice, so he has yet to make an out. Arredondo with a 2-0. Just a piece of it there by Zobrist. A win tonight for Tampa Bay, and they sweep the Angels for the 2nd time this season here at Tropicana Field. They've also swept the Red Sox twice and the Chicago Cubs in this building. As if you need a little more evidence that this is an awfully good team. Three and 1. 95 with that fastball, but not in the strike zone. Let's say we take a look at K-zone. Well, K-zone says it hit the corner.
Catcher had to go a long ways. More times than not, you don't get that call.
Jerry Meals did not give it. First and third, 2 out. Here's the 3-1. A foul. So a full count on Ben Zobrist.
Just thinking about the game last night, James Shields going 8 innings, handing the lead over to the closer. All of that pyramid was available for Joe Madden tonight. On the other hand, Mike Scioscia not having Scott Shields available down there. He picked up the loss last night. Very well could have been him out there in the 8th inning tonight.
Arredondo with a 3-2. Tried to hold up and he went. That is strike 3. And the runners are frozen at first and third. Tampa Bay does tie it up on a Carlos Pena double. Back-to-back 2-base hits. Upton got the first one. Pena right behind him, and we've got a brand new game at the Trop. On to the ninth inning at Tropicana Field, the Angels and the Rays, and they may be playing deep into October against one another. Tied up 4-4 here. Balfour remains on to do the pitching. They've got a new left fielder for Tampa Bay, Justin Ruggiano. He takes over for Zobrist, who took over for Hinsky. So the third different left fielder in front of 19,157. Top of the order here for the Angels in the ninth inning. Sean Figgins, who has 2 hits, including a double and an infield single. And as part of that third inning uprising where they scored 4 runs, he had the 2-base hit and also drove in a man for his 18th RBI of the season.
Obi, I thought you had a great point on that double. I mean, if Carl Crawford was out there, that probably would have been a routine fly ball. And the big inning probably would not have happened. Hinsky wasn't able to get there. And now the reason for Zobrist coming out and Rosiano coming in, you just want to be as good defensively right now as you can be.
Figgins a threat to bunt. Balfour not throwing strikes here. The count goes to 3-0. He threw nothing but strikes in the 8th inning. He struck out the side. Rivera, Rodriguez, and Mathis blowing them away with a big fastball. But he's going to walk Figgins, and that is begging for some trouble with his wheels. Game track, Rays scoring 3 times in the second inning as they jumped on Jared Weaver. It was a defensive lapse that really cost him, not his fault. The Angels stormed back, scored 4 times in the third inning. A walk, a single, a double, a triple, an RBI ground out, and it was Garza's turn to be upset. Pena came up with the RBI double in the 8th inning to finally tie things up as that drove in B.J. Upton. And so we are locked up 4-4. Here in the top half of the 9th inning.
Well, right along with the game track, I like the gamesmanship going on right now between Mike Scioscia and Joe Madden. Really what Mike's doing to his team. I mean, K-Rod was up and throwing right off the bat. You don't bring him in the 9th inning on the road in a tie game. It was almost like Mike Scioscia was telling his lineup, boys, look, here's we win this ball game. You get 1 run. Look who's up and ready to go. Let's get him one.
Eric Ibar now. He's dropped down 8 sacrifice bunts on the season, including 1 in the 7th inning. His brother is going to charge from third as that one's pop foul back out of play.
6 2/3, 7 hits, 4 runs all earned.
The runner on at first base here and nobody out in the 9th inning. The Angels trying to take back that lead.
6 2/3, 7 hits.
Even if Ibar does not drop down the bunt and his brother makes a play, he can really fly with 21 infield hits. So he puts a lot of pressure on the defense to execute. He lines that one, caught. Runner gets back to first base. Eric Ibar lining out to his brother Willie. And Eric, unable to get it down, makes the mistake on number 1.
I don't know why he was trying to bunt it that way to begin with. The first baseman's got to hold the runner on. The second baseman's back. Take it with you. He's pushing the ball that way the whole time with his brother right on top of him. That's not Mike Scioscia baseball there.
Figgins able to quickly get back into first base, but here's Teixeira, who will not be bunting. Flies that one. Ruggiano is deep, but comes on in, and it drops in. He can't make the play. It falls in for a hit. Figgins down to second base. Now Ruggiano was playing deep with Teixeira the batter, but that's a play that has to be made. He pulled up on that ball. Very odd. First and second, and the window opening for the Angels here.
Very frustrated on the part of Joe Madden. You can see him tuck his head down there. There's really no need to fake with your glove that you got it. I agree with you. Just come on in and make the play.
Well, it was the Angels who had a defensive lapse very early in the game, with very costly. We'll see about this one. Chad Bradford is coming out of the bullpen, the side armor, and we'll be back at the Trop, tied at 4 in the 9th.
Scott Reese with his Sports Center in-game update. We figured we'd have a pitcher's duel, Jake Peavy and Danny Herron. It's been anything but so far. Kevin Kuzminoff with a towering home run off of Herron in the first inning, so it's 4-0 Pods. But in the bottom of the first, Adam Dunn goes yard for a second straight day. That a 3-run home run. We've got a 4-3 game now, top 2 in Arizona. OB?
Scotty, thank you. And coming up following our game on ESPN2, U.S. Men's Soccer International Qualifier presented by the United States Marine Corps. It's the U.S. against Guatemala that's currently airing on ESPN Classic. Now, Chad Bradford comes out of the bullpen, acquired August 7th from Baltimore.
Leads all major league relievers in that ground ball to fly ball ratio. That's what Joe Madden looking for right now.
Well, Vladimir Guerrero, who is 0 for 2 tonight, has grounded into 24 double plays. That leads the American League. Has been hit by a pitch and been intentionally walked tonight. Figgins at second, Teixeira at first base. Rather fortunately, the runners go. Here's the throw down to third. Not in time. A double steal for the Angels. And Riggins can't get him. Here comes Madden. He wants to argue this because it looked like the throw beat him down there to third.
Ibar acted like he thought he was out. We've already seen Figgins given a base because of a call missed by first base umpire Gary Darling. Joe Madden did not come out and argue that one. He's going to come out and talk about this one.
Let's take a look. As Riggins came up gunning, Figgins sliding in. The throw is certainly not on target. As he steps behind Vladimir Guerrero.
Thought he was out. So did Ibar. Thought he catches him right there before he gets to the bag. Boy, that's close.
Boy, on that look, you're right. I'm not sure either. I thought maybe the leg got in, the foot got in there before the tag was applied. In any event, Madden has had his say. He was ejected last night. He will not be run tonight, at least here in the 9th inning. One more look. And tags up high. So it's a double steal for Figgins and Teixeira. We're tied up 4-4 here in the 9th. Guerrero, by the way, is 4 for 9 in his career.
Well, and Torrey Hunter is 2 for 8. So you're going to put him on again?
Yep, against this pitcher, and it appears they will. Yes, they will walk him intentionally for the second time. So this will load up the bases with 1 out for Torrey Hunter, who has 2 hits this evening. The Angels trying to grab 1 game in this series. It'll be the only time, if they do win it, that they will have beaten Tampa Bay at Tropicana Field this season, at least until the playoffs.
We talked earlier, Don Zimmer talking about Mike Scioscia, saying he's not afraid to try anything at any time. The numbers you mentioned there, leading the American League and grounding into a double play, Mike Scioscia saying, I want to get out of that spot. Well, he did. You take off, you steal 2 bases. Now the bases are loaded. Your big free agent acquisition over the winter is at home plate with only 1 out. Now you've done your job as a manager. You just sit back and hope your players can do theirs.
Torrey Hunter, 279, 19 homers, as Sutton mentioned, 2 for 8 against Bradford. Torrey Hunter has more extra base hits than any other Angel. But all it'll take here is a fly ball of decent depth. And Figgins will race in for the go-ahead run. 1-0 on the veteran Torrey Hunter. K-Rod is lurking with his 47 saves.
How about a fly ball to center? Let's take a look at the legs and speed of Figgins and the arm of Upton.
Upton has a cannon.
There it is.
Little tapper. Ibar coming home. Gets the outs on the force play. 2 down. Very smoothly played by Willie Ibar on the charge to get Figgins at the dish.
It looks like he's been there all year long, doesn't he? I mean, that is a terrific play. Coming hard. You've got speed coming down the line. Little top spin. A lot of action on that baseball. He comes up with, I mean, just perfect. Right to the catcher. Riggins picks up the second out, and now you got a little bit of breathing room.
So that is out number 2. But now coming to bat for the Angels, and for Mike Scioscia, their hottest hitter in Garrett Anderson, who has hit in 22 straight games. He does not have a hit tonight. He is 0 for 4, including a strikeout. 4 for 10 off Bradford.
What he had to wonder when this inning started, if he was going to get another shot at extending that hitting streak.
Well, here in the 9th inning, trying to put the Angels into the lead again. Tied up 4-4. Teixeira, their most celebrated acquisition of the season, at third base. The first one to Anderson. Ground ball to the middle. Knocked down by Iwamura. He'll have no play, and the run scores. And the Angels have the lead 5-4. Iwamura, who has been sensational defensively.
No question a base hit. No question at all in my mind. These people here may have been spoiled the way Aki has played defense last year at third, this year at second. But that ball was hit right up the middle. He went a long ways to get to it. Kind of an in-between hop that came up on him. Take a look at how far he has to go here. That ball's up the middle. It's gone. Here he comes in, and he backhands it there. Had he been able to come up with it cleanly, maybe he could have gotten the force play at second, but you've got to give him a hit on that.
It is a hit. It is a run-scoring single, and it's a 23-game hitting streak for Anderson. More importantly, his 70th RBI to put the Angels in the lead. Bases loaded again for Juan Rivera, who's gone 1 for 4. A routine ground ball to Bartlett, and that will retire the side. But K-Rod is coming on, looking for his 48th save of the season. The Angels cling to a 1-run lead as we go to the bottom of the 9th here at Tropicana. Well, you have to believe Joe Madden and Mike Scioscia are the leading candidates for manager of the year, and the proof is in the pudding in their 1-run win.
I think this is really the most important statistic for a manager. Obviously, you're going to look at the team's number of wins, but in a 1-run ball game, a manager has something to do with the outcome. I mean, you get a 2 or 3 run game, it's usually a starting pitcher. You get a 4-run or more deficit, offensively somebody did something. But in a 1-run game, Mike Scioscia feels good.
Here's Francisco Rodriguez as he drops in a breaking ball to get started on Gabe Gross. 47 saves. He's on pace for 62.
John Smoltz's record at the All-Star break after the all-time record. I got a feeling with this Angels lineup, he's going to get a shot at it.
Gross has walked twice and singled. Incidentally, during the break in between innings, the official scorer changed his mind on the base hit by Anderson and has ruled it an E4. So that call has been changed. Anderson will not get credit for driving in that run there, but it is 5-4 Angels. Big wave and a miss there by Gross.
Well, and also Garrett Anderson's hitting streak comes to an end.
Yeah, unless this game goes into extra innings, that'll be the end of it at 22. Although I'm with you, I thought he got it right the first time. And a base hit, 5-4 Angels here in the bottom of the 9th. Downstairs for a ball.
These two teams so close. I mean, it comes down to, was Figgins out or safe? And after watching 4 replays, I'm still not sure. I thought he was out.
Well, the throw was to the wrong side of the bag, and that cost him in the eyes of Bill Miller. Up the middle for a base hit. Gross is aboard to start the bottom of the 9th. No quit in these Rays as they bid for the sweep. Coming up following our game, the U.S. Men's Qualifier presented by the United States Marine Corps. Soccer coming your way, the U.S. against Guatemala. It's currently on ESPN Classic. Navarro will step in to pinch hit now for Riggins. The all-star catcher. In July became the first Rays catcher ever to make the all-star team. And he had a key 15th inning single that was part of the American League's game-winning rally. He caught 8 innings in that game. The tying run on at first base with nobody out in the bottom of the 9th. Navarro has been scuffling. He's hitting just 176 in his last 14 games. He got the night off, at least behind the plate, to now 1-0. Well, now what we're being told is that they're changing that back to a hit.
Stay tuned.
That's the second change on that call, but
well, let's go to instant replay.
Well, no, you don't want to do that.
It's a hit.
So that is a 23-game hitting streak. So I think they've finally gotten it right. Changing it back again. Ground ball up the middle. Ibar with a friendly hop, steps on the bag, throws and gets him, a double play. 6-3, 2 down. That was a room service bounce, and Ibar was there to pounce on it.
Well, and there's going to be a lot of people after this game ask manager Joe Madden, why did you not sacrifice bunt there? Even though Navarro hitting close to 300 all year, he's an all-star. He had done it 3 times successfully this year. Get the tie and run into scoring position and hope that somebody can drive him in. Instead, he elected to let him swing. It cost him a double play there.
So the Angels trying to hang on and win one of these 3 and beat Tampa Bay in this building for the first time in 2008. It would turn out to be the only time during the regular season. These two clubs at the moment fighting for the best record in the American League, which Tampa Bay owns. That's important as far as home field advantage in the league championship series. That breaking ball low on Bartlett. He's gone 1 for 3 with a triple. K-Rod looking for that 48th save. Bases clean, 2 down. 2-1. The Angels scoring in the top half of the 9th inning after a key double steal. And Garrett Anderson winds up driving in a run. Of course, there was a misjudged fly ball that was very, very big. That one trickled foul by Bartlett, 2-2.
Well, I think there were a couple mistakes made defensively by these Angels, but I think once again Mike Scioscia was able to overcome that, being aggressive on the base paths and, as we mentioned, building that pyramid to the closer. He brought in Oliver in the 7th inning. He was able to get an out. Arredondo got 2 in the 7th. Then he struggled. He gave up 1 in the 8th. They got it right back in the 9th. And here's Francisco Rodriguez.
The 2-2 to Bartlett. He would not chase it. Tampa Bay trying to get that potential tying run on board again. The Angels have turned 2 here in the 9th. The Rays down to their final strike. Uemura on deck. The 3-2. Bounding ball sharply hit. Figgins handles the chance. Long throw, and he got him. And the Angels pull it out. 5-4 the final. And they finally defeat the Rays here at the Trop. For the only time this season. So we check out the American League standings. In the East, the Boston Red Sox are hopeful of gaining some ground. The Angels, well, they have a 16-game lead, and they win a key one tonight for them. They know that they can, at last, defeat the Tampa Bay Rays here at the Trop. Soccer is coming your way next. And for a recap of tonight's game, join us on ESPN News. For Rick Sutcliffe and Aaron Andrews, I'm Dave O'Brien saying so long from St. Petersburg. The Angels beat the Rays 5-4.